time for one Big Mac with cheese, no onion, and pickles.
It's fucking Logan right now.
Yeah, it felt like it when I was like, yep. My soul like left my body. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna talk for the rest of this interview.
Peter with 214.
Come on, Peter. Come on, Peter. Here we
Wrong,
go.
sorry.
Going down the stretch. And time.
I like how Anthony pulled up cool jokes.
He said, where is it?
Anthony's like,
Thank you, Anthony.
Anthony's like the Mexican Siri. You just say something, he starts finding a location.
Hello and welcome back to The Middle is Open. Abel Creo here along with Anthony Espeline. And Anthony, you know what? It's empty in here.
Well, a little less empty than last week when I was here by myself.
Yeah, you were. And it was kind of weird because we had the paranormal investigator.
Yeah.
How did that go, recording the show by yourself in the studio?
I kept thinking I was seeing stuff out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, and then with the audio, like the phones were glitching and stuff. I was like freaked out back then.
Now, did you have all the lights on in here?
Yeah, I had all the lights on.
All right. Was Charlie, did he make an appearance?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but I don't know. Next time you're going to have to be here by yourself, and you tell me if you see him.
Yeah, I hope we're done with those Zoom video calls, Google Duo, whatever we use. Yeah, those shows suck. Like, I mean, the audio isn't the best. The video isn't the best. I mean, it's still a good time, but I think with a guest like Ramito, how we had him last week, it would have just been so much better to have him in studio. But you know what? We do have a guest in studio, even though it's you and myself. Peter, unfortunately, he found out last minute that it's his fiance's birthday, so he's in the doghouse for sure. And then I just want to say congratulations to little Paticus, little Guapito, because he had a baby, man.
Yeah, he's a daddy.
Yeah, Patrick is a daddy, so congratulations, Patrick. What's the baby's name? Mia Victoria
Espeline.
Yeah, Mia Victoria Espeline. So congratulations, Jamie and Paticus, Patrick, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Congrats.
Like, yeah, he was so stoked, but it's official. He's now a dad.
Yep.
He is officially a dad. But yeah, man. So congratulations once again. And congratulations, Danny Cruz, because he's a grandpa, first-time grandpa.
He's a grandpa.
So, yeah. We got all that out of the way. Now let's talk about our guest, because we do have a guest, and we're going to talk about hockey today. And it's really cool because it's that time of year. You know, it's starting to get cold. Let's just bring him in. We have Tom Herman, and he's the El Paso Hockey Association youth director. And Tom, how are you doing, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming in. We actually had this set up for a month ago. Unfortunately, there was a lot of things going on, but we have you in studio. So, I mean, even though it's Anthony and myself, we finally got you in studio. So we're super stoked on that. I wanted to talk to you about something. I mean, just like, how are you doing in this time of pandemic? Like, you know, the pandemic, COVID, all that stuff. Like, how is everything going?
I think I'm with everybody. It's new, it's tough, it's different.
Yeah.
You know, and but at the end of the day, you just try to figure out ways to make things work. Like right now, the rink's still not even open here in El Paso, so we're just being creative as possible to make things happen. And you know, it's just been such a weird year because when the NHL came back and announced were coming back, that's when they announced Craft Hockeyville was going to be coming back, and so it really shifted to like, oh man, now we got to start preparing for that again. And so the Craft Hockeyville, you know, that started going, and you know, the support we had in El Paso was amazing. We ended up winning it, so you know, it's like, oh sweet, like let's get going.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was time to open up the rink, and construction's already going on for the Craft Hockeyville money. and our ice compressor goes down.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so it was like, now what do we do? So now we're waiting for an ice compressor, and it honestly couldn't have worked out at a better time, because with all the shutdowns going on, we might have ice and not even be able to use it. So it's just been weird. And now the Rhinos have started, and they're basically hubbed out of Odessa right now, living in hotels. And
That's wild.
yeah, like our youth kids are playing games already, and they don't have practice ice, and we're zooming, and
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so let's give you a proper introduction. Let's like run through your bio, your resume, because you were the coach at UTEP, right? You were the UTEP hockey coach, and then you also work for the Rhinos as well, correct?
Yeah, so I've been here now since 2008.
Okay.
The UTEP, we had the hockey team there for 5 years. With everything going on this year, it's really not looking promising for most college sports, let alone club hockey. So, I was brought in to be the youth director. My brother started the youth association here, and at the time when I came in, my younger brother was still here too. So it's like the three brothers, three amigos kind of thing going on. And we're, I have a title of youth director, but we still to this day, like whoever works at the rink, you have about 16 hats, and you just kind of swap them out, put them on top of each other, and away you go. So
you bring up your younger brother. I think I know your older brother is Corey Herman, correct?
Yeah.
And he's the coach of the Rhinos.
Correct.
Yes. Your younger brother, I don't know much about him. This is actually the first time I even heard that you had a younger brother. What does he do for the club?
Well, when he was here, he basically was the rink guy. You know, so like
Old Man Willie just working inside.
Yeah, so he was basically driving the Zamboni. He was like fixing anything, and he was kind of, he was helping me run youth programs and coach teams and stuff like that. And his wife actually was an assistant volleyball coach at UTEP, and now she's the head volleyball coach at ACU. So he lives in Abilene now, and he kind of was jack of all trades, and he's got his own little construction business going on and remodeling, and so he's killing it there, and not too far away, but we all ended up down here.
Man, he says like his younger brother, and I look at him and he looks like super young. He looks like a more like tougher looking Adam Levine over here. He's like
I wish.
But like he looks super young, and then he says like, "Oh yeah, my younger brother," and then his younger brother has like a construction company, and then his wife is like the coach at Abilene Christian. Like, it's like, how old are you, man?
I turned 40 this year.
Really?
Did a 40-year-old pandemic birthday. Yeah.
Oh wow. How was that?
It was actually pretty cool. Like being a 40-year-old doing a parade. But did you get balloons? No. Well, I don't know. I can't remember. So my daughter's birthday is after mine, so we had balloons set up for her birthday already. But no, an adult parade, and handed out some Jello shots and drinks. Nice. And it was pretty cool. Like
Jello shots. It was a little parade, and he's all giving Jello shots. Open container over here, man.
Oh no, to the passengers, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Jeez, this guy. He's like,
that's awesome.
You might want to cut that out. Nah. So let's talk about UTEP hockey. So you were the coach at UTEP. It began in 2015. Did you start off as the coach?
Yeah. So
how does that work? Because I just you say it's a club team.
Yeah.
You were playing in the American Collegiate Hockey Association. Mm-hmm. The conference was Texas Collegiate Hockey Conference.
Yeah.
Right. But how does that work? Because it's a club, but you're playing against other universities. And I'm looking at the other universities that you were playing against. And in your conference, you have big schools like the University of Texas, Texas A&M, Texas State. And then in the North Division, you have Texas Tech, TCU, North Texas, Dallas Baptist. So these are legit universities. This is not EPCC or Southwest University, or you guys are playing big schools.
Yeah. So, okay. Gonna have to rewind a little bit, but so obviously it's a club, so it's student run. Mm-hmm. The whole purpose of the Rhinos it's junior hockey. So you go from your youth hockey, high school hockey, what we in the hockey world called like midget AAA hockey, stuff like that. You then go to junior hockey, and that's what the Rhinos is. And it's amateur, so they're not getting paid, and that's where they're trying to get their college scholarships. Mm-hmm. So what we found that was happening, we were sending all these guys from the Rhinos to all these different smaller D3 schools or other schools that had club hockey that was playing in the ACHA, which that's the club version of the NCAA, right? Mm-hmm. So we're sending these guys to all these different schools, and they're paying so much money to go to these small D3 schools, right? And they would leave the Rhinos playing in front of like thousands of fans and then going to these small schools and they're playing in front of 30 people, and they're just like, man, I miss El Paso. I miss the fans. I miss this. I miss that. And so just speaking to some of those guys and some of the high school kids that we had graduating and that were going to go to UTEP, is like, hey, why don't you guys start a club team?
Yeah.
Start a club team. We'll help you out. Like from the rink side of things, we'll help you out, and I'll coach it for you guys and everything, and let's figure this thing out. So the Rhinos were basically our number one recruiting tool to get guys to stay, and obviously like our high school program. So then that's how it kind of all started. And then our first year we were basically an independent school because the TCHC didn't exist at the time. And throughout that year, that's when all the Texas schools got together and said, hey, let's make a conference. So we got the blessing of the ACHA to start a conference, and the reason behind that was to get an auto bid into regionals. And so we actually hosted the championship the first year. We ended up winning it on home ice, which was awesome. It was pretty cool. Went to regionals. We actually played really well and probably should have won the game and just couldn't get over the hump. And then
is it a series or is it
no? So the regionals is like kind of like college basketball, like one and done, and like boom, you're done. Yeah. So it was tough. And then so I coached it for 4 years in the conference, and we won 2 championships, which was awesome. But yeah, it's a different beast, like club sports, man. Like, cause if, you don't, the difference between UTEP and like UT Austin, Texas A&M, those bigger schools, you have hockey players enrolling as students, where for UTEP, we were recruiting hockey players to become students. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it was a little bit different. Like we were like, hey, come here to play hockey and go to school. Obviously school is number one. You're trying to sell the different colleges and different degrees and stuff like that to convince them. And obviously, UTEP's a great school, and it's cheap, and that was the big sell compared to going to A&M and paying $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, but that's where they had students that were hockey players, and we're like recruiting hockey players to be students.
That's crazy. You know what I like about him is he said like all his achievements as a team, but in 2018 he was named Coach of the Year in the TCHC, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, man. We have a Coach of the Year guy over here. Look at this guy over here. How cool was that to be named Coach of the Year, knowing that the program started in 2015, and then like about 3-4 years later, you're the man.
I don't know. It's hard. I think coaching's the easiest thing. You know what I mean? Like, because you obviously the hardest part of coaching is putting a good team around. Putting a good team like together. Right. And you might tell who's going out and stuff like that. But it really comes down to like the team, the chemistry, and everything like that. So, the players make the coach look good, and don't get me wrong, like a guy like Nick Saban, like, he doesn't really have to recruit. Like,
Yeah.
You know, if he's sitting in your living room or just phone, like if you get a text message from Nick Saban, aren't you going to say no? Like, you know what I mean? So like, you know, like for.
No, wait, I'm waiting for Dana Dimmel.
Like,
Who's that?
So it's kind of one of those things where, you know, if you're able to recruit well and put a good group together, and then, you know, obviously you have to get them to buy in right from the get-go, but you have that core group of guys, and if everyone buys in, then really you're just trying to look as good as possible and not get caught picking your nose or something like that on the bench.
So these are guys that ultimately came through the Rhino program, or like was the thought of like having these guys play with the Rhinos, and then if they don't get opportunity somewhere else, they're going to come home. Well, they're going to stay here in the borderland and play for UTEP.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like almost like a feeder, you know, like using the Rhinos as a feeder into UTEP, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. So one, it was a good feeder for our youth program. So a player could realistically, you know, start as a young kid, play hockey from 4 or 5 years old right through high school. If they were to play junior hockey, hopefully, you know, play for the Rhinos. And then if they wanted to stay and get their education here, they could go to UTEP. So like the whole progression was there. You know, and even again for the Rhinos, it was kind of like, for me to recruit a Rhino is kind of like, hey, you see all these fans? Like, this is kind of our core of our fan base too. So like, you know, like, the weather's pretty good here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, go check out the campus. It's not too bad. You know what I mean? And then it's like, then you got all these fans. And so that was kind of the sell. The problem was the Rhinos are always so good that they're getting pretty good offers to a lot of different other places too. And we were ACHA Division II. There's obviously a Division I. And, you know, a lot of players that have D3 opportunities are looking at ACHA Division I saying, hey, the hockey's super comparable, if not better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you're not going to a small private school for D3, you're going to a UCO or something like that where tuition's, you know, reasonable, you know, and it's like, you know, again, nobody ever wants to grow up. Like, I never wanted to grow up. I never wanted to quit playing hockey. Like, I rode that pony for a long time, you know, and so nobody ever wants to just say I'm done. So, you know, when you're going to a school to, again, kind of play hockey and get an education, the last thing you want to get out of there is like a mountain load of, you know, student debt. So.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, because you brought up the point, like ACHA, right? ACHA.
Yeah.
It's just as good, if not better, than going to a Division III school. And it kind of reminds me, because when I was going to college, I started off at EPCC, and I wrote for the newspaper there, and I was covering the baseball team.
Yeah.
And they weren't that good. And I was like, a lot of these guys walked around like if they were hot shit and stuff. And I'm like, dude, you guys won like 10 games all year out of like 40, you know? Like, but there were a few guys that, you know, they did have a lot of talent, and they chose not to go to a Division II school, a Division III. They instead chose to, and some even like not at EPCC, but in the conference that EPCC was playing, they chose to stay in junior college. And, you know, because there's different rules for the NCAA. If you commit to the NCAA, there's all sorts of rules. Whereas in for a junior college, you play in a very competitive league like the Region 5, but there's not as many rules. Is that kind of like the case?
So, yeah, obviously, like the NCAA, you know, it doesn't matter what sport. There's a lot of hoops and rules. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to play Division I NCAA. And, you know, when you're that young, you don't really understand. And I didn't go to a very big school. I was up in Alaska, at Fairbanks, Alaska, right? So, like, you know, we didn't have, you know, a big booster club or anything like that. So we didn't have to worry about, like, taking gifts or, like, it just wasn't, you know, Michigan football, you know? So, like, it's not really like that for hockey as much.
It's like, you want that moose head that's up above the fireplace? I shot it last week.
I'll take that beaver pelt and so obviously, like, NCAA, cream of the crop, Division I's cream of the crop, no doubt about it. D3 again, and I'm not saying it's bad hockey, but sometimes it's kind of like you're weighing it out, saying, okay, if I'm not playing Division I, if I'm playing Division III, what are my chances of even going semi-pro, Europe, whatever? Let me put my growing up hat on and say, okay, like, what do I want to do? First off, I am going to school and I'm now paying for it. So what do I actually want to do in life? And then two, what do I want to get myself into after the fact? So, and then going back to ACHA, the difference is because it's club. Yeah. There's, again, you're expecting students basically to be running it versus like the NCAA clearinghouse and like, Yeah, everyone,
But it's still a notch above like intramural sports, or
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dude, I almost made the intramural sports team playing frisbee and stuff, and I'm not even that good.
No, so like some of the ACHA schools, like, don't get me wrong, like whether it's Division 1, 2, or 3, because there's 3 divisions within ACHA. Some of those schools, like, they have full coaching staff, they have like a full department, and they actually sometimes even fall into their athletic department and stuff like that. So every school's kind of different. Everything, it's just, it's depends how involved the schools are with it. Some of them just say, hey, if you want to be a club, follow the club rules, have at her. Some schools are really invested in it and say, hey, we can't have you as our athletic program. We can't add you as an NCAA program, but we're going to treat you like one, and let's do this. So it's a little bit different, but ACHA has before all this started, they had over 400 hockey teams in the conference. So
I think it's 431 teams in 49 states.
Yeah.
Hawaii, well, they kind of, Hawaii, I mean, they're like surfing and stuff. But no, I mean, that's crazy. That's a lot of teams. Like, I didn't realize there were, that many schools, for God's sakes. Like, it's wild. But I was going to ask you one more thing about the UTEP hockey. Is there any kind of GPA that they have to keep? And you running the program, what do you expect from your team, your players, that the students don't really require them to have?
So as a club sport, just from the school,
and do they have to be a full-time student?
Yes.
Or could they be part-time?
Yeah, so they so you have to take it was 12 credits for an international student, 9 credits for an in-state student, and then if you're taking your master's, it was 6 credits, I think. I could be a little off, but it sounds about right. But just to like travel as a club team, you have to, I believe, is a 2.5 GPA, and then to be eligible to play for the ACHA, it was a 2.0, and I think that's even what NCAA is too. That's what it was when I played, but we also had study club.
He's like, that's what I used to get.
No.
I was like 2.0 all the way.
I was getting pretty much free school. I was taking full advantage of that. So, but no, so they have to submit paperwork every semester, and we've ran into teams where they played ineligible players because of their GPAs and stuff like that, and then you end up forfeiting wins, and it's not something we want to do. And again, it being a club sport, everyone's paying for their own school. That was my biggest thing, was like, hey, you guys are here on your own money, why waste it? And like when I was going, I was on scholarship, and the last thing I wanted to do is show up on my mom and dad's doorstop with my tail between my legs, and they're like, why are you here? And it's like, well, I lost my scholarship. Like,
so would you tell the story to your players? Would you be like, back in my day, I used to walk through the snow in Alaska, so you guys have no excuse?
Yeah, no, I tell a lot of my like youth kids that I coach and stuff like that, and I kind of pre-warn all the parents before I say it. But I hated school.
Yeah.
I did not like school. I understood the importance of school. My mom tells me to this day, like, she had a parent-teacher conference with my 7th grade English teacher, and she's like, yeah, Tom wants to get a scholarship and go play hockey and then end up in Europe. And I don't even remember ever saying that. And because Corey's 5 years older than me, so I kind of always got to watch, you know, what was happening in his hockey career and kind of like start piecing things together, because you got to kind of remember, like, there's no internet and anything like that. So I don't know what's going on, right? I just want to play hockey. So I understood, you know, from the get-go, one, my mom's not going to let me play if my grades are in the toilet. So didn't have to worry about that. So school always kind of came easy to me, and I just didn't like it. You know, I was grade 12, you know, almost getting kicked out of school because I just wouldn't show up, and I still graduated. It's called honors, but like, you know, like I had
he's pretty bright, but he's just huevon. Like, you know what that means, right? You're huevon?
No.
Like, you're lazy, but they say huevon, but like your balls are big, so you're like you're huevon. They hold you back, you know.
Yeah, but then sure.
Thanks for that graphic explanation, Abel.
But yeah, so then I just ended up, you know, I graduated college, and then with my GPA and stuff like that, it was super easy to get into college and stuff. So I wrote my SAT, and the only reason I wrote my SAT was because a buddy of mine was like, hey, can you help me study? Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I'm like, sure. And I took it, and I scored really well. And I was like, okay, I'm done. You know, like I was always told you only needed an 800 to get on it. It's like, well, I scored perfectly fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
And so my second year of junior hockey, my coach comes in is like a week or two into the season. They're like, hey, Tom. I was like, yeah, what's going on, coach? And everyone's kind of in the room, and he's like, hey, you got to write your SAT again. It's like, what for?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Harvard called. You got to rewrite your SAT. You need 20 more points. It's like, Harvard has a hockey team? I was like, screw that.
Aren't they like really good in hockey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, pre-internet, didn't know what was going on. Just some young punk kid, you know. And that year, that's when I ended up getting my scholarship, and that was the first year I ever had an email address. So it was way back, you know. And like looking back, I think 2-3 years later, they're in the Frozen Four, and I was like, huh. But I don't ever regret like not doing it. But.
What was the name of your email address? Was it something cheesy or stupid or like, you know, typical teenage boy kind of email?
No, it was therm21. Just shortened it.
Yeah, that's not bad.
21 was my hockey number at the time, so it was kind of
it wasn't big.
Yeah,
like big booty, big booty lover or whatever, something silly like that. No, that's good, man. I mean, you covered.
Yeah,
that's.
But yeah, so it was kind of like one of those things where I understood what I needed to do.
Yeah,
like as far as school wise, just so I could play hockey, and that's, you know,
just
my biggest
did enough
thing
to get by.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I took full advantage of my scholarship. Because like some guys wouldn't even take a full load of classes, and I'm like, you guys are on scholarship, and you're gonna end up finishing your 4 years and then having to do another year.
Right.
And the last thing you're gonna want to do is pay for school. Like, what are you doing?
What was the biggest alpha move you had or you did during your college years? Like, when I mean alpha, like. So I went to New Mexico State, and I had classes with like a bunch of basketball players, football players. Football players, I don't even know why they consider themselves alphas, because they only won like 1 or 2 games. But like the basketball players, I can see it. They win conference every single year. But those guys, like, you know, they had the Beats headphones. Some guy had a hoverboard and things like that. They would show up to class like half asleep and maybe under the influence. I'm not trying to say anything, but, you know, what was the alpha move that Tom Herman was doing back in college?
You know what? I don't think I ever really did. That wasn't like, that's not really like a hockey guy thing. You know what I mean? No, like
I was gonna ask you that because, there's so many sports and every sport has like its all-star, its key player. But you say that's not really a hockey kind of person, a hockey guy. What is a hockey guy?
no, I like, don't get me wrong.
Are
Like,
they more respectful or?
No, like so we were the only Division I sport at our school.
Okay.
And the school was kind of set up weird. So like all the hockey players, the upperclassmen lived in the apartments on campus. So I guess our hockey thing was like, we were going to throw the parties, that was like, oh, you're coming, like, come to our party kind of thing. Like, oh, you're going to go over there. So I don't know. I just find hockey players are a lot different. Like, especially on like social media when, LeBron was going through his whole like run to the finals like every single year, and then that's when the playoffs are always going on, and they'd always put like side by sides of like a hockey player, and it's like, we did this, we did that, we did it together, it was all the guys, there's the team, and then they'd show like LeBron or whoever else, and it was just like I.
Oh, that's perfect. That was one of my questions, because what do you have to say about like, you're obviously stating that LeBron's a prima donna, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
No, I just think it's just different. Like I was saying, like when you asked me about the whole coach of the year thing, like that, to me, that's not a me award. You know what I mean? Like, again, I really didn't do anything. Like, they did everything on the ice. A top scorer award, like, again, it's still a team award. And I think that's where, hockey players especially, it's so ingrained into you at a young age. It's like, there's 20 guys on a team, and all 20 guys normally play. The only guy that usually doesn't play is the backup goalie. Everyone else has to play. And where for basketball or football or whatever, even baseball, like, how many games did Cal Ripken Jr. play in a row? Yeah. Like, you play your position all game long and you never get substituted. Like football, the quarterback never comes out normally,
unless he plays for the Cowboys.
Right? Just on a rotation. But so
they're like down to their 9th quarterback this year. Yeah. It's barely week 8 and
open tryouts. Anyone has a jersey,
right?
Yeah. So
waiting for Romo to go back out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna get called. He should.
Well, he's got about like 3 more Corona commercials before.
Phil's commitment. But no, so then like, what is basketball? Like, the bench is what, 5 guys?
Yeah, I mean, I was the 6th man. I was known as the 6th man. Ask me how many minutes I would play, they would just throw me in to foul the guy. Like, oh, we're down by 5 points, 1 minute left. Abel, go in there, foul the guy.
Yeah.
So I would go, and then they would like substitute me back out, and it's like, oh man,
it like,
and then it's like we go back on defense. Abel, get back in there, and then I check in, and then foul the guy again. And it's like, dang, dude, in 1 minute I get 5 fouls, foul out.
But yeah, so like for hockey players, you're only taking a 30, 45 second shift because it's that fast. You're hitting, you're like, so you need everybody, and I think that's probably why a lot of times it's kind of like it's so ingrained. And then not only that, like for the alpha dog kind of thing on campus, it's kind of one of those things where, hockey's never really been alpha. In Canada, yeah, it is. Don't get me wrong. But at the same...
You're from Canada, right?
Yeah.
So you were born and raised there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like in Canada, yeah, hockey's number 1. But at the same time, everyone knows everyone's a hockey player. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's a really good chance you're a hockey player, or like whether you're a boy or a girl, you're probably playing hockey. So they're like, you're no better than me, And one thing, like,
it's like baseball in the Dominican Republic. It's like, yo, dude, we all know you have the milk carton on your hand. Come on, man. Like, we all do that.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's exactly. So when I came to the States, hockey isn't number 1, right? Like, you're 3-4 down on the pecking order, and then you're kind of like, well, I'm not going to walk around like that. You know, like we're trying to gain fans and gain like, you know, the student crowd and stuff like that. Like, hey, we want you to come to our party. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and we want you to come cheer us on. And
I mean,
like,
but you went to Alaska. I mean, that's a hockey state, right?
yeah, but again, it's
I mean, we kind of forgot that Alaska exists. Like, I mean, they still haven't even counted their ballots yet, you know? Like, we're still waiting.
is Nevada still counting?
Yeah, I think Nevada and Alaska, they're still counting.
Every worker in Nevada counts on a daily basis. They count cards, they count money, and they
I
can't count a
believe
ballot.
it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's wild. But let's not get into politics because we tend to run off, like, man.
I can't vote, so I can't have a voice.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, keep that mouth shut. We don't want to hear that Canadian opinion. Free healthcare over there.
Don't get me started.
Don't go down. We do talk politics, but we've been talking crazy the last like we're done.
Honestly, like
I'm done.
Yeah, we almost fought over it, man. Like I could feel Anthony punching me through his phone, like because we had this group chat, and yeah, it's just not a good thing to talk politics, man. Yeah. Even if you're on the same side and stuff, it's still not a good thing.
Yeah, the same side arguing about details. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But, God, I kind of got off track there. Jeez.
I know. I threw you off your roll there.
Yeah. Gee, thanks, Anthony. Okay. So you obviously played in college. You finished your 4 years. It was a good time, right? Good time.
Yeah.
After you were done, how do you make your way down to El Paso? Because you said you followed your brother's career. He's 5 years older than you.
Yeah.
And he did play for the Buzzards, right?
Yeah. So
is that how you came down to El Paso?
Yes and no. So when he was playing for the Buzzards, I was still playing junior, so I hadn't even gone to college yet. Like his second year down here. So I actually ended up going to college a year early. So we were up where I played junior hockey. There's the three of us brothers, actually. It was like the first time in years that we had all been together, and we were working out in the summer and just hanging out for like a week or two, and it's awesome.
The Manning brothers over here?
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, we were working hockey schools, and we were just messing around for like a week, and it was really, really cool, something we never really had an opportunity to do growing up. Just because hockey had taken us here, there, wherever. And so my brother was in El Paso at the time. I was on my way to Alaska. My younger brother was in northern Manitoba. And so it was just a cool time, right? So then I take off up to Alaska, and my second year up there, my second summer, is one of the I ended up starting to come down here in the summertime. Just to hang out, really. And my brother started working the front office for the Buzzards, and that's when he started the youth association. So it was just a really weak excuse to come and visit him during the summertime. And he's like, well, come help me with the hockey program. Okay, come down here. It's 105 degrees. There's no ice. I'm like, what are we doing? So it was just a really good excuse to hang out and just be family, right?
Yeah.
And so every year it just seemed like my summer vacation was like a week, and then it was 2 weeks, and then I actually had a shoulder surgery down here.
In Juarez.
No, it was in El Paso, but I ended up having one of my shoulder surgeries here, so I spent a whole summer like doing rehab.
Nice.
And then went back up for my senior year, and then so I ended up going over to Germany for 4 years to play over there.
Oh, cool.
But then again, it was kind of like then I'd fly to El Paso first. Because there's like an adult hockey tournament, and it's just a reason. Now both of my brothers are here, so it's just a reason to come and hang out with all the guys, play hockey.
Yeah.
And then I take off back up to Alaska, then I go back to Canada to see my parents, and then boom, I was back in Germany, and it just got longer and longer and longer. By the time my last year in Germany, the summer, I almost spent the whole entire summer here.
That's cool, man. That's cool. What was it like besides family? what was it about El Paso that just kept you coming, or was it just because of like the whole family connection?
Like, honestly, the first time I got here, it just felt like home. It felt like Canada. Like if it just was like super warm and welcoming. Like everyone, I like El Paso is the biggest city I've ever lived in, I think. I want to say. But it was like
small town mentality.
Yeah, the biggest small town ever, right?
Yeah.
And it was like it was just super welcoming right away, and I just like, this is awesome. It didn't matter who you talk to or whatever. Is like, oh, hey, let's grab a drink, or like, what do you need? Can I help you out? Whatever. And it just reminded me of home so much, and it was like, this is great.
Yeah. So your brother was down here for the Buzzards, and then you said he was like working in the front office and stuff like that. And then Buzzards kind of folded. I don't know the exact story of the Buzzards.
I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, I don't know the exact story of the Buzzards and stuff. But then when I was in high school, there started like, there was talks of like hockey back in, like the Coliseum. Well, not the Coliseum where you guys play now. I don't know. What is it called?
It's called the Event Center now. It's the old Equestrian Center.
Okay, so there was hockey being played there and stuff. And then, like, I knew of a few guys that they're like, yeah, the Rhinos, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what is this Rhinos thing? What is this Rhinos thing? How did that start?
So I'm going to get the year wrong, but I think it was my second year in Germany. So it was
it 06?
05-06 season that I was in Germany. And my younger brother was already down here with my brother, and they had just actually moved into the Equestrian Center that year, and they had a high school team, and it was just an opportunity to bring a junior team in at the time, and again, my brother called me, and I'm sitting there in Germany 8 hours ahead, and he's like, hey, do you want to start a junior team? And it's like, well, I'm still playing hockey. I don't really plan on not playing hockey. And he's like, no, just like come in the summer times, help out, and we'll figure it out as we go, kind of thing. And, credit to him and my younger brother, Dave, and, everyone else, like they put in a ton of work. So that 06-07 season was the first season of the Rhinos. And it was, there was a lot of things that, were kind of left undone to get the season going, but they made it work. And I kind of played a couple more years over in Germany before I moved back here full time. And by the time I got back, they pretty much had it rolling, and it was a pretty easy transition.
How does that even come up though? Like, I mean, because to me, I mean, we live in the borderland. We live in El Paso, like. Right downstairs is Juarez, and like you just don't hear of hockey in the desert, So what kind of faith did your brother have, and the people around him? What kind of like, what was the big picture that they were seeing that others weren't?
So again, with the Buzzards leaving, it just left a void.
Because they were popular.
No, they were popular. They were definitely popular.
And they were pretty good too, right?
Yeah, they won a couple championships. They went back to back, and then, after that, I think there's a couple different owners, and it just kind of spiraled, and it obviously left a pretty bitter taste in everyone's mouth. But it just got to the point here where hockey was growing, and it was like, okay, what needs to be done next to keep this growing? Like if it just stopped at high school hockey, what would excite a kid to come and learn how to play hockey? Like what's going to be the grab for a new kid to play hockey? Like they're going to have to accidentally trip and fall into the rink, kind of thing. Where the Rhinos, even though they are a junior team, we try to do the best possible way to still market it as a pro team, because really at the end of the day, if you're to watch a junior game versus a semi-pro game, the junior guys, they're they're itching because they want to play hockey farther and farther. They want to become a semi-pro, right? Or a professional, and they want to get their college scholarship. They're itching. They're trying to reach their potential and reach their max, right?
Yeah.
Where, when you get to semi-pro, you're just looking for your paycheck and the free beer on the bus kind of thing. And you're so like, are you really going to finish your check? Are you really going to go like as hard as you can when you have 3 more games in 5 days
It's very similar to that movie Semi-Pro.
Exactly.
Though it's a comedy, it is very similar to that movie
Absolutely.
Semi-Pro because, you're just kind of out there playing almost like a beer league, You're just like
all leagues end up beer league.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm not saying you're semi-pro over here, but it's kind of like I wanted to play hockey. I want to like see how long I can continue to play hockey, but there's not really a commitment when it's semi-pro because you don't really have, the facilities. You also don't have like some of the, like, I don't know, the facilities, the training facilities,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, like,
and you don't have the hunger of a youth, like.
No, and again, that's kind of the biggest difference. Like, don't get me wrong, semi-pro hockey is a lot of fun, and a lot of places do a really good job with it. My reason to go to Europe was like, one, I had 3 surgeries in 4 years in college. Is kind of like, if I'm gonna, I want a free trip to Europe. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get paid to play hockey and really just travel and just see how long this goes. And I was fortunate enough to do it for 4 years, and it was awesome. Like
when you were in Europe, like, how was it? Like, I mean, it's Europe. You're like, what are you doing there in Germany?
Yeah, the hockey was it was good hockey. The fans, just a completely different atmosphere. It's like a soccer game, really.
Really?
Yeah. So like,
is that their number 2 sport?
No. It's kind of like a 2/3 or a 3/4. Obviously football or soccer takes the cake. Handball's massive.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Handball.
No, and it's crazy.
Shit, we used to play handball on that wall over here, man.
Yeah.
No, like not handball when you're whacking against the wall.
He's like not cholo ball.
No, like the handball, like with the goalie, and like you're passing it, you got to bounce it once, you're jumping it through the key. That was really big. And unfortunately never got a chance to go and watch it, but like even just like Nordic skiing or shooting or ski jumping, like you kind of want to put that almost ahead of hockey. Wow. But then you go to a game, like a hockey game, and of course, again, they have all their own different levels, 1, 2, 3. I think there's like, it goes down to like 5, kind of thing. And
do you get relegated?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And knowing that's I think that's the coolest thing ever. I don't think it could work for like the NHL or the NFL or anything like
Capitalism.
that. Yeah. No, but like it happens over there too, because what happens is you go from the first division to the second division, and where do the sponsors go? They're like, see you later. Yeah. If it's a small enough town, or if the tradition is there,
right,
the sponsors will stick. But if they're not, the sponsors will stick because they're like, we want to get back, so we want to keep our guys. We're going to pay our guys, even though we're not Division 1 anymore. We're going to pay them because we want to get back there. But it keeps the competitiveness of the league so much. Like, could you imagine? I'm going to pick on your Cowboys. But like, could you imagine the Cowboys getting relegated? Like, goodbye. Like that would end football.
No, I love relegation because I mean, obviously it's not here in the United States, and I've never I don't love my teams as much as some of like in England soccer, football is like it, and it's like a neighborhood team,
Yeah.
So like those guys live and die. Like if their team gets relegated, it's
suicide.
It's demoralizing. Yeah, like people are committing suicide and stuff.
No, it's crazy.
But I mean, I think the concept of relegation is cool because there's no such thing as like, well, we're just gonna tank the season, and then we're gonna get the number 1 pick. It's like, no, bitch, you better win your games because you're gonna get relegated.
Yeah.
If you're last place or the last 3 teams, your ass is gonna drop down to, what is it? XFL.
XFL.
You know, like
No, and that's why one reason why it wouldn't work for football here, because there's no league. And what was neat was my first year, we were on the brink of being relegated, so we had to play like the loser round. And again, we're like not even really understanding at the start, but like, man, when we won that last game
was
to
a party.
not get relegated,
Yeah.
like we partied at the rink forever.
yeah.
Like it was like
won.
it was like we won the league, right?
Hell
And
yeah.
then my last year, I played on a team where we actually moved up too, so it was like really cool too. Like so I got to kind of experience both of those, and it's a really cool concept, but I just can't, but they don't have drafts over there either. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's part of it,
well,
but they also don't have
they have the academies and stuff.
yeah, but they don't have a draft where it's like, hey, I want the number 1 pick, but they do already have a farm system and a youth system and stuff like that where they're growing in ground or growing their talent within.
There's a really good series on Netflix. It's Sunderland Till I Die or something.
Oh.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
What were you talking about?
I was thinking about the Apple
He's like-
TV one.
He's like Narcos. It's like, what?
No, I was thinking of the I can't think of the name of it now, but I was thinking Soccer Relegation, and it's on Apple Plus. It's
Oh, dude.
hilarious.
Oh, does it have that one actor? What's his name?
It's got a few actors.
Chase.
Yes, you're on the right.
Jason
Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, it's
okay.
hilarious,
Dude, well, there's one on Netflix that is. Well, do you know Spanish?
No,
No, there's one on Netflix. It's Club de Cuervos. Have you ever heard of it?
no.
So it's a Mexican show, but it's on Netflix. Club de Cuervos. There it is. It's the same concept. It's Mexican. It's It's Liga MX or MX or whatever it's called, and it talks about like being in the first division, getting relegated and stuff like. It's a comedy. It's super funny, and I think that's the show you're talking about on Apple. They stole it from Club de Cuervos, bastards. No, but on Netflix they have Sunderland Till I Die. That's a really, really good one because Sunderland it's a real documentary, and they follow Sunderland. They got relegated from the Premier League, and then they dropped down to the Championship.
Okay.
And then they got relegated from there.
Oh, wow.
Spoiler alert. But they got relegated from there, so they're like in League One. And you talk about like sponsors leaving and stuff. This is a club that used to win championships back in the day. Like they were a top-notch club. And then over the years, I mean like the 80s, 90s, they started to, go downhill because
You talking about the Cowboys?
Because it was like a shipyard or something like that. The city, it's like everyone works in the shipyard, similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
Like everyone
Steel
works at a
town.
steel mill
Yeah.
and stuff. Well, this one's like a shipyard, so everyone is like, like hardworking, blue collar, kind of person, and they follow that team Sunderland. But now it's like, it's almost an abandoned city, and they're just slowly like, deteriorating. And it's sad. It's sad, but you got to see the passion that they have for their club, for their squad, their team. It's like I don't think I could ever love, the 49ers or the Cleveland Indians or the Orlando Magic like as much as these people love their team, their neighborhood team.
Yeah, there's a whole new degree of passion for sports, especially when it comes to football or soccer over there. It's insane. And yeah, like it's something different where it's not even like the tattoo or whatever like that, but their life revolves around it.
Yeah.
And it's insane. And we used to always joke when we were in Germany, or you kind of learned it pretty quick, where you looked at your jersey and it like, okay, how many sponsors do I have on my jersey? And like, who was in the middle? Like the middle sponsor was your premier sponsor, right? You always wanted to have a beer sponsor in the middle, or at least,
cool one.
or you wanted to have a beer sponsor on your jersey because you knew, you always obviously wanted a good beer sponsor, but you always wanted a beer sponsor on your jersey because then you always knew you were going to have beer on the bus or beer in your dressing room after a win, right? Yeah. So it was always kind of like one of those things. And or if you had a car sponsor on your front, you knew your team car was going to be better. And then obviously, like, the more sponsors you had, the better your team was off, because that's the other problem with relegation and stuff like that. And just, the European leagues, whether it's soccer, hockey, whatever, is a lot of teams go bankrupt, and it's like, okay, we only have 4 sponsors on our jersey. And I'm like, oh man. And they don't do trades. Well, soccer they do, but like hockey, they don't really do trades over there. So once you sign your contract, you're kind of stuck. So it's kind of like, okay, wait, how many sponsors this year? Okay, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got a beer sponsor, goods car sponsor. Sign me up.
You're like, that patch is a little small. So no, they're probably gonna drop after we get relegated. So forget that.
People are coming in repoing the equipment. Weights.
Who's the main sponsor? Takis? What the hell? Oh hell no! I'm not gonna. I'm not
the smaller your actual team logo was, the better your team was off. And it was weird. And I kind of learned that after my first year. Our first year, I think we only had like 2 sponsors on our jersey, and I played for a team that had just moved up the division, and you could totally tell, like, the trainer, sitting in the room, like, handing out your equipment with a cigarette in their mouth, and then also they're like, it was pretty bad.
There's my dumb ass. I'm like, that's a pretty big logo. I'm gonna go play with that team, and it's like some shitty team. I'm gonna sign a 5-year contract with them.
Laughing Clown Malt Liquor?
From Talladega Nights. Dude. I was gonna ask you, as far as Anthony brought it up on the screen, because Anthony's constantly Googling stuff. Let's talk a little bit about the Craft Hockeyville that you guys recently won. And I say you guys, but like El Paso won it for who exactly? Where's that money going to? The renovation project, what's happening with that? You were also talking about how, you guys need some much needed maintenance in terms of, like, I don't know what hockey needs.
Yeah, so Craft Hockeyville, it's a really neat thing that Craft and the NHL does. It basically just rallies your community, right? And so you kind of submit your rally cry, like, why should people vote for you? And our biggest thing was just rink renovations. The roof at the rink, again, it was built for an equestrian center, so you want hot air to go out. You want, the smell of, horses and cows to be able to be taken out. And it's mostly in the summertime, so it needs to be vented and everything like that. Well, when it's converted into a rink, a lot of things weren't taken care of, so like just the front doors, you open them up and the walkway leads right to the ice. Well, hot air and ice don't go along, very well together. The vents on the roof were never properly closed, and just the insulation. Again, it's a summer building for a winter sport. So there's just a lot of things that needed to be done. So that was kind of our rally cry and for roof upgrades and stuff like that. So the support from El Paso and just the Rhino family was incredible. I would really like to see the vote count, because
here we go with politics again.
Just because
count every vote.
No, just because if you were to go back on our different social media channels and even just go to the Facebook of Craft Hockeyville, just the amount of celebrity and sport, like Aaron Jones, You know, and Aaron Jones, what was so cool
How cool was that?
when they whooped up on your 49ers, he wheels in wearing an El Paso Rhinos jersey with his name on it. And
how cool is that to see like the Rhinos on one of the NFL's number one running backs?
No, and
like how crazy is that?
No, first off, Aaron Jones does like just an amazing job just being from El Paso.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
really quick, who's bigger, Khalid or Aaron Jones?
Well, I'm going to give that to Aaron Jones just because he shut us out. But
well, okay, what about if Khalid calls you guys up and says, hey, your first game back at home, I want to sing the national anthem.
Absolutely.
And then Aaron Jones says, yo, your first game back, I want to like make an appearance and like rally up the crowd. You could only choose one. Who are you going with?
That's not fair.
Like Aaron Jones is going to come and he's going to do the 915 that he always does. He's going to like wave like a jersey or something. He's going to pump up the crowd. More than likely, he's going to be the reigning MVP or something like that. Or it's Khalid, and he's like with his Grammy or whatever awards he has won, and he's like, "Oh, sing," you know. What are you going with?
I think you just figure out a way to have them both.
No, only one. Because scheduling, you could only schedule one.
No, I'm pretty sure you can figure out a way.
No, I'm saying you can only schedule one. I'm
the
the agent for both of them.
No, you get Khalid to sing, and you have Aaron Jones drop the puck.
It'd be a hell of a game.
Yeah. No.
And then the Rhinos lose like 10-0. It's like, oh, man, we got all pumped up for nothing.
Yeah. So, but no, just going. So just like everyone in El Paso just did an awesome job. Like Superman, Dean Cain, like is on social media. Like and
that was badass.
And then he got his jersey. You know, we obviously did a thank you for like the celebrity people that helped us out, and as soon as he gets his jersey, he posts it right away, and it's just like these people don't have to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're doing us a favor, and there's some people that we reached out to, and they couldn't do it because of their contracts and stuff like that, and we get it. You know what I mean? But just for those guys to go out of their way to do it, and like Aaron Jones didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? But again, that just speaks to him though too.
Yeah,
like there's a reason why he does the 915 because he loves El Paso.
Humble.
Yeah. No, and it's awesome.
I was gonna ask you. I kind of want to rewind because we are in a pandemic right now. But in 2019, August 3rd, obviously, El Paso was hit hard, like it sucks. And I even get choked up like whenever I think about it or stuff like that. But you need to get that?
No.
I mean if you need to get it.
It was supposed to be off.
Oh, okay. Jeez, no respect over here. We're recording a show and nah, I'm just playing. But so like August 3rd obviously happened, and then you guys had a game with Team Mexico a little bit after that. Like, was it a month after that? And was that game scheduled before the events of August 3rd? And unfortunately I wasn't able to like go to those games and stuff, but like, I don't know, you talk about like how much love you have for the city and how much love the city has for El Paso hockey, Rhino hockey. I mean, can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the game against Mexico was actually planned before. It was kind of just a way to do preseason games. We've never done preseason games before, and it was a way to get them involved. And we actually had a couple players from the Mexican national team play for the Rhinos, and so it was kind of like, okay, why can't we help each other out, kind of thing. Yeah. And then August 3rd happened, and it was kind of like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like how do we heal? Like how can we, and it was kind of like, do we cancel it? Do we keep it? I want to say we actually moved the date up. I could be wrong. But it was just kind of like, okay, so how do we do this? And so when we actually announced the games, because it was really never announced, it was just kind of in the works, and it really wasn't like, okay, 100% Mexico was going to come and play the Rhinos for some exhibition games. But then after it happened, it's like, no, we need to do this.
Yeah.
This needs to be done. And credit to Mexico for coming and doing it and being a part of it. And then obviously the NHL actually heard about it, and they did a piece on it, and they did a fantastic piece on NBC Sports, just about El Paso and Mexico and Juarez and August 3rd and how it all brought it together. And the guy that did the one of the pieces, his name was Anson Carter, and he was actually the one that gave us the idea to do Craft Hockeyville. He came to the rink. He's like, man, talk about a barn. Every old school hockey guy is like, oh yeah, check out that barn. And he's like, this is literally a barn. Like, check out this barn. He's man, you guys need to be, you guys need to push for Craft Hockeyville.
Was he surprised? Because obviously you guys have a pretty prestigious program, and I'm not trying to toot your horn or anything, but you guys have a very, very good program here in terms of Rhino hockey. You guys, before the pandemic, you guys were on the verge of going for a third straight Thorn Cup championship. A three-peat. Like, that's craziness. But like, you guys have had a lot of success. So was he kind of surprised that you guys have had so much success with Rhino hockey, yet you guys, like you said, play in a barn? You guys aren't flashy. You guys aren't, you're just, you guys are just like, you have that mentality of a hardworking club, and you just so much passion from the city. Like, was he surprised by that?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, you can always tell somebody like, oh no, like, you don't understand. Like, we have awesome fans. Well, everyone has awesome fans. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of one of those things where when they did the piece and he came down here and it's sold out and it's just rocking and like just crazy, right? And then, but not only that, like just seeing the whole production and like him talking to fans and billet families and youth hockey parents and youth hockey players, and just understanding like, yeah, we might be way down in the desert, but this is a hockey community. It might be smaller, like, you know what I mean? It's not like all of El Paso. It's a smaller community. It's growing every day, but at the same time, it's like, this hockey community, if you put them up in Canada, up in Alaska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York, wherever, this is a hockey community. And these are hockey fans, and these, like, this is Rhino hockey. And was he like shocked by it? Yeah. Like, he heard about it, and then that's when he said the whole Craft Hockeyville thing. And one cool thing he did, and I think it's on the piece that NBC Sports does, but he found out that the Mexican national team that the Rhinos played, they didn't even have team gloves. And so
what do you mean by team gloves?
So the gloves were mismatched. Like, they were they weren't given to the players by the national program. They were basically, whatever team they played for, if their team was red, they had red gloves. If their team was black, so they were mismatched. And and whatever, crazy. Like, like if you actually watch an NHL game, like, they're all the same colors, but because they're sponsored and stuff like that, they have different brands. Yeah. But he orchestrated it and got all of Team Mexico matching gloves, and he presented them to the guy on camera, and the guy was just like, wow. Like, it is NBC Sports and Anson Carter and that whole staff, they just did an amazing job of covering August 3rd the right way.
Yeah.
And not even like in a hockey light, like just everything of like the best part of El Paso. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, like my wife and I, we were actually in Dallas at the time. And where we were staying, we were literally staying with some family friends a block away from that idiot's house.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just like, so when we were going back to the house, there's helicopters and cops everywhere. And we're just like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, we already knew what happened.
Yeah.
And then the next day or the day after, we're driving home and we're just like, you know, we've drove that how many times, and we're just kind of looking at each other and not even wanting to say anything, because it was just like, what are we going back to? And then, you know, like the best part of El Paso was like, unfortunately after that, like El Paso was just like how they came together for so many different things is amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move. So Peter's not here today, and he had a question for you. Because stupid Peter, he forgot his fiance's birthday. So he had a question for you.
Marital advice: don't forget the
Well,
birthday.
you know what? Really quick before I forget. So Patrick, he just had a little girl. I mean, congratulations, Patrick, once again. He's a first-time father. He has a little girl. We know you're a father. What advice do you have for Patrick, knowing that, well, he has a little girl now? And you're a father, and, I mean, what advice do you have for him? I mean, it's a crazy world out there. So what advice?
No, it's crazy. As a parent, and to keep your household sane or livable, change diapers.
Oh, you hear that, Patrick?
Help out and change diapers.
Change diapers. Anthony, did you change Lucas's diaper?
Dude, I worked all the time. What are you talking about?
Okay, see, man.
No, but just
macho man over here.
no.
I never touch Lucas.
No, I just never.
I don't change diapers. That's
That was my problem.
That's my wife's job. And this macho man over here.
No, but yeah, like you said, it's a crazy world. I don't know, just
You hear the train?
yeah.
This is the hood, man. It's a hood. It's a neighborhood over here.
No, I don't know. It's again, you know, you take what you can from, you know, watching your friends, you know, raise their kids in this day and age, and you know, obviously, like, you take what your parents taught you and everything, and I don't know, man. You just try to do what you think is right, because nobody knows. There's a lot of books, but no book is right. Like it's
And then you always kind of have like a picture in your head of like how you're gonna do everything, and then when the time comes, it's just like you just throw it out the window. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and he's gonna do this, and now he's not gonna be on the phone or tab, and it's like, yeah, fuck that, man.
Yeah,
you can't live in this world without.
5 minutes later, like, yeah, just take your time.
Yeah.
No, I think one thing that me and my wife both agreed on right from the get-go was, you know, like, we have three girls, and it was right after the get-go is like, you know, people are going to want to hold the baby, let them hold the baby, because like the last thing we want is a Klingon. You know what I mean? And so that was one thing where, you know, we were okay with other people, like, now.
Yeah, now
a little bit different now, but it was
Wash
kind
your
of
hands.
Yeah, it was
Hey,
kind of
where's your mask?
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things where like, do you mind? Is like, no, go ahead. You know, and I think it helped our kids like being okay with, you know, like when other people would come over, they're not being shy, or they're not attached to your leg, or you're holding them all the time. It was kind of like one of those things. That might be, again, it's kind of bad advice now, but that would have been my kind of like my thing, is because, you know, that's the worst thing when you have people over, you go to somebody's house and you're just constantly like, not right now, or just relax, or can't you go play, or can't you go over here, or can't you do this? But no, kids are awesome though. It's completely different than, you could ever imagine, but it's probably the coolest thing ever too.
Nice. All right, so Peter's question, because he's not here and he forgot his fiance's birthday. Dumbass. So, okay. He asks, do you think El Paso could ever have an NHL team because of the support that they got through the Crassville Hockeyville, as well as, they do have that connection with, being a border town with Mexico, potentially being able to, I don't know, try something like that? Could El Paso really have an opportunity of having a major hockey team here? Realistically,
no, and a couple reasons for that. One, with the expansion of Seattle, and they're adding a 32nd team, they've already said they're not expanding anymore. So, right there, no expansion is foreseeable for quite some time, and I don't even think 32 is stretching it. So, I understand why the NHL says that. If a team were to sell, all the owners would have to agree on it.
We got Paul Foster here. He's like $5 billion. Come on, Paul Foster.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
Exactly, right. But there's been, even when Seattle was putting in their bid, there was a lot of other hockey hotbeds that were really going after it. Like Quebec City's been trying to get their team back ever since they sold it, kind of thing. And there's always talks about another Canadian team. And then you look at, Kansas City was trying to get a team and stuff like that. So there's definitely a waiting list, I would say.
Yeah.
But who knows? Crazier things have happened. Look at 2020.
All right.
Yeah, right. If 2020's taught us anything.
No joke on that one, man. So unfortunately, the Rhinos were unable to defend its crown going after that three-peat. You guys actually had to switch leagues. Can you kind of talk about the league that the Rhinos are in now? And and what is the competition like? Is it better? Is it, the same? Or,
So, okay, so the switch of leagues kind of goes back to the original question of why bring a junior hockey team here? And that was kind of like, how do we continue to grow as an association, and how do we continue to grow and do things here in El Paso to promote hockey? Every year we've always done rink improvements. We've always tried to add things to make the program better. And it was and the reason for it is if you're not moving, you're stagnant, and you're not nothing's going to change. Right. So, obviously COVID hit, the season gets canceled, and then the thinking hats come on, and it's okay, so what's the next step of our program? And the North American League is considered tier 2 here in the US, and that's always kind of been a goal since day one for the junior team to get to that level. Okay. And so when all of this started, the Western States League was the right fit for the Rhinos and El Paso Hockey. And at that time, it was the right fit, the correct fit, and it worked. And it was a great fit for us. And then, again, COVID hit, and it was okay, so what's next? What do we have to do? And that's when we started talking about, okay, so how do we reach that goal of getting a North American League team? And so we were kind of exploring that. And so we're okay, here's the path we have to go. Well, it kind of makes sense if we're going to have two teams. Why wouldn't we have a North American team and an NA3 team? Because then you have your feeder system and it's in-house and things like that. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And during that time, there was talks about other teams leaving the WSHL because at that time, the WSHL didn't know what was going to happen. And again, it's kind of like parenting. There's no rule book. There's no to-do list book on a pandemic, right? So like nobody knew what was going on. So there's a lot of moving parts at that time, when at the same time we were kind of doing our thing too, and we were just kind of getting our ducks in a row. And then other people are starting to say, hey, we're jumping ship to here, to there, wherever.
Oh, shit.
And so it's like, okay, we are probably doing the right thing right now. And so the NA3 is the Tier 3 version of the NA, and the NA3 rivals the WSHL. So it just made more sense to have two, like next year we'll have the NA team, and it just made sense to have two teams in the same or under the same umbrella versus now we have an NA team over here and we have a WSHL team over here, and they, it's kind of like two North Poles trying to connect, and it was just they're polar opposites kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it just made more sense. And then with all these other teams leaving the WSHL, it's just kind of like icing on the cake. Is like we got to make this move to make sure we have a competitive program, a good program. And ever since we have moved, again, the WSHL was great for the Rhinos, but ever since we have moved, the difference has been huge just from league standpoints of like professionalism and how they do everything. And again, the reason we have the teams is for the players to move on, and the way they market it, the players, and move on the players to college and stuff like that is huge.
Yeah.
And again, at the end of the day, that's why we're doing all this, is for them to make sure that they're coming here to El Paso to have an opportunity to move on. Because if we're not moving on players aren't going to come here.
So how do you guys market the Rhinos during this pandemic? Are you guys going to be hosting games? Are you guys going to be having fans in attendance? I mean, you guys. I mean, I don't know how it works. I've never run a business in my life. I don't get it. But obviously you need to make some kind of money to continue with this program, correct? How are you guys going to continue during this pandemic with everything that's going on? How are you guys going to, promote the Rhinos?
It's a great question.
Because I was thinking about this. I was really thinking about this, and I'm not knocking anything. I'm not knocking anything. I love the Rhinos. I've gone to the Rhinos plenty of times, and you know what? You used to drop off Rhino tickets for us there in the front, and I would never pick them up. I would always purchase them. So just give me a heads up, man. I would always purchase my Rhinos ticket, but I would always go to the games, and I enjoyed them. My girlfriend enjoyed them. I enjoyed them. My dad enjoyed them. My dad, he loves hockey now. He loves hockey, and he loves going to the Rhinos. Chris, shit, man, my other brother, you should see him. He loves the Rhinos. He's the guy that sits right behind the goalkeeper or the goalie or whatever, the goaltender. Sorry. He stands right behind the glass, and he's banging, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" and this and that. I'm like, dude, they're junior players. Calm down, man. These kids are they're young, man. And my brother's a 40-year-old dude, and he's like, he's going crazy. He loves the Rhinos. But there used to be a bar, because I used to work at the radio station at KLAQ, yep. Kiss FM, and KROD, and there used to be a bar right next door.
Our bar.
Exactly, our bar, and it promoted itself as a hockey bar, which was kind of cool. I mean, I like hockey and all, but to be honest, I don't follow it. Right now, we're watching the.
I know, true.
We're watching we're watching the goddamn Miami Dolphins versus the Arizona Cardinals for the 4th time this week, and it's barely a Tuesday. I don't ever see myself watching hockey, if it isn't the Rhinos and I'm not in attendance. You understand what I'm saying? So how do you, promote the Rhinos when fans are unable to go to the game? And if they are, it's obviously 25%, 50%, whatever. I mean, there's limitations to the situation that we have right now.
Yeah, so as of right now, we're not scheduled to have a home game until December 11th. And again, we're we're kind of trying to go off of as much of what we can of what we can do. We definitely have some tricks up our sleeve. We're going to try to make the best fan experience possible. It's just what's going to be possible. We're hoping to obviously have fans in the stands, and that's what we want to do. But if we're not allowed to, we're going to make some pretty cool outdoor experiences to make sure people are still, able to come and cheer on the team, in one way or another, right?
Yeah.
So,
could there potentially be like, I don't want to cut you off, but could there potentially be like little pods in the parking lot and you guys set up TVs or something? Or I mean, that's probably unrealistic. But
well,
like,
not exactly.
And then after the game, you have, because you guys do an awesome job of like, your players interacting with its fans. Like that's something that I've always liked about the Rhinos. Like you guys have always done. Like after a game, you can ice skate with the Rhinos. You can ice skate on the same ice that the Rhinos were skating on, and it's dope, man. It's like it's a fun time. It's an experience, Like, and I was thinking like, could they potentially like set up little pods out in the parking lot, or like a big screen, though the game is going on inside. Then after the game is over, you guys smoke the opponents like 15-3 or whatever, and then you guys come out and you're like standing on the top of the stairs and you're like, "What's up? We just won the series or whatever." And it's like, like, is that possible?
Yes, some of that is possible.
Ah, look at that.
So
Anthony, I should work for the Rhinos, man.
So right now, again, there's like about a million different versions of this because it just changes every day.
A million and one.
No, so the idea right now is if we can't have fans in the stands, or if we're limited amount of fans in the stands, we want to bring an outdoor experience. To have a big screen like the drive-in movie theaters that they've been doing, but also at the same time to bring the atmosphere outside. So like all the in-game promos that we do, we're switching them up and figuring out different ways digitally and stuff like that to continue to do. Whether it's the T-shirt cannon, we're figuring out ways. Whether it's the jersey off the back, we're figuring out a way.
Yeah, because I was thinking that in intermission they have like
the Rhino Razor.
Yeah. What's his name?
Oh, Spike.
Spike. Yeah, Spike comes out
Spike,
with a fucking gun and just starts blasting people.
Yeah.
He's just like in the parking lot, like blasting away, like boom, boom. Like that would be dope, man.
Cool. Until he takes out a windshield. And then,
right.
No, so like
call Allstate.
Yeah, new sponsorship.
When mayhem happens or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So no, like even like the dance for your dinner and the flex cam and all those different things, we're figuring out ways that we can still do it, regardless if we can have fans in the stands or not. Like we have a mobile camera that we've used for the different fan contests and stuff like that. So we're brainstorming all the time of like how we can do as much as we can outside if that's what we have to do. Like the biggest thing, like there's a reason why players want to come here. They want to be a Rhino and they want to experience all of that. So we want to make sure like the players are experiencing as much as possible, and then obviously like the fans are getting that experience too.
What is the reputation when you're recruiting players to become a Rhino? I remember a couple of years ago we went to actually the championship game of the Thorn Cup, and you guys, I guess it was under the WSHL website or whatever. After you guys won the Thorn Cup, the team you guys had defeated in that championship game, they were kind of salty, and they were like talking smack about like, the equestrian center, and they were saying, like bad things. I think it was just because they were salty. They were just like, they were upset like that they didn't win the championship. But when you're making the pitch to, hopefully future Rhino players, what pitch are you making to them? Because we do play in a barn and stuff, but are you pitching the fans, like just like, what is it? Like
The tacos.
yeah.
No, it's everything. Like it starts with the fans. It starts with like our billets are amazing. Like where the players live, they live with families, right? And the families are amazing. They're awesome. They're part of our booster club, and so that's one of the biggest things is like, as a parent, if you're sending your kid somewhere, you want to know like they have a good billet program, and you want to know that they're training at the best place possible, and the guys go and work out at Wolves Den Gym, and it's state of the art. Like they continue to put in new stuff all the time, and the reason why they work out there is because they're kind of on the same page as us, where it's like, okay, how do we get better now, and how do we get better now? And if you go on the Rhino bus, you can sleep 30 people on there, and it's not in a chair. They're in a bunk. You know what I mean? So it's like, again,
it's like they're not sitting on each other's laps.
No. So it's kind of like one of those things that's like, how do we recruit? Well, we try to make the program recruit itself, and like the dressing room is a pro style dressing room. The amount of ice time they get. We have a rapid shot machine that people probably don't even know we have at the rink or know what it is, and it's basically a batting cage for hockey players. It spits out pucks, it lights up targets, and you have to hit the targets. So it's pretty. Yeah, we got to get the podcast out there after COVID, dude, and try to shoot
honestly, I was trying to stop little wiffle balls right now. Like you're hitting some balls toward me, and I think I did a pretty good job, but I don't know about an actual puck coming at me. I need more than a freaking COVID freaking visor or whatever the hell I was wearing. I need more than that.
Yeah. So if you quickly like do your Google magic, just Google rapid shot. But we have that at the
rapid testing.
Yeah, rapid shot hockey, and so it's here. Let me go.
So it's kind of like a pitching machine,
it's a batting cage. Yeah. So
dope.
So it basically spits out pucks to you, and you shoot and you try to hit the target. So like perfect example, like boom.
That's dope.
And so it actually reads your reaction time, your shot speed, how accurate you are, and then it's like there's a point system and stuff like that.
That's
so
cool, man.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
So you guys have that?
Yeah, it's at the rink.
Shit.
So again, like it's just like those little things. It's like, you're competing against hundreds of teams. It's like,
how about you guys save some money and you just put me in between the pipes and you just have your team just go after me? I mean, you guys gotta suit me up properly.
That's cool.
But
yeah,
do you think I would get hurt?
Well, at the end of the day, you shouldn't get hurt because they should be missing you because you should be scoring.
Okay. No, but I mean, I got a quick glove. I'm like Julie the cat.
Yeah.
That was actually my question. Like, how heavy is the goalie equipment? Like
it's not. It's actually really, compared to like a skater's equipment. Yes, it's heavier, but
is it like styrofoam or?
It's different types of foam. Yes, but it's actually not as heavy as you'd think. Like if you were to grab a pad from 10, 15 years ago, like you would like, it's like you're getting a workout and you're lifting up one pad and you're like, holy man, like, and it is made like the worst things possible, like leather. So it's like just absorbing water, and underneath the leather there's like horse hair and like just other stuff that just, so like the longer you went, the heavier they got. Now they're wearing stuff where like it doesn't absorb water, and it's like super like strength, but at the same time it's super light. So
Dude,
that's why the goalies are so much better. It's lighter and more protective.
It just looks bulky. Like I'm like, God damn, that guy's probably.
Dude, I was holding a paddle and a broomstick, and I was winded after 10 shots. I don't know why I was like, and he was shooting wiffle balls, and I was like breathing hard. So I could only imagine after like a goaltender makes like 39 saves in a game, and like that's crazy. That's so crazy, man.
Yeah. So no. Yeah. So like that's the sales pitch, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, so we don't really have a cap on our practice time, like where some of these other teams they're not in their own rink, so to speak. So they might only get an hour and a half of practice time a day, where, our guys are on the ice at 7 and there's really no one on the ice until 3-4 in the afternoon. Not that they skate that long, but you know what I mean? Like there's really no limitations. So we try to provide, the best opportunity for them to take advantage of, and again, at the end of the day, it's up to them, right? Like, if you're only going to get what you put in. So
how do I get Anthony to a game? He's never been to a Rhino game, and I think he would like it because
we were supposed to go as a podcast.
Yeah, we were supposed to go as a podcast, but for some reason, you just stopped dropping off tickets.
It says the guy that bought all his own tickets.
Right? Well, I wasn't going to pay for all of them.
Bought his girlfriend tickets. His brother goes to the game.
Yeah, no.
He can buy his dad tickets.
Yeah. But I'm not going to buy Anthony and then Peter and then Pat. And then Pat has a baby now. And then Jamie. And then
kids get it. Kids get in free as long as they sit on the lap. The kids get in free.
Peter forgets his fiance's birthday. So shit, man, I'm gonna spend a lot of money here. And then I gotta buy popcorn and sodas and beer, of course, for Peter because he's an alcoholic. So no way, man. Sheesh. Now we were supposed to go, but like Anthony's a huge football fan. He obviously likes the Cowboys, so he doesn't know too much about football. But how do you get Anthony to go to a hockey game?
No,
because he's a fanatic, man.
No, and
I think he'll love it.
I need a new team.
Yeah, exactly, right. But that's actually one of the things where we do recruit a lot of hockey fans, is because nobody's ever seen it. Like the tickets I used to drop off all the time.
Yeah.
People would pick one up and like, hey, we're not doing anything tonight. Let's go. And if you watch hockey on TV, it's hard to follow. It's hard to understand. Especially if you don't know, right? And then when you actually go see a game live, it's like, oh man, this is a lot faster than it is on TV. And on TV is the pros where they're actually like really fast. You know what I mean? But that live experience and the event center is such an intimate experience, so it looks that much faster. And so that's when people really get into it. And then obviously, like, it's a production, like all the different games going on, like in between whistles and all the things. So like it's gravitating. And then that's how people just start enjoying hockey. And then, all of a sudden the playoffs are on, and it's like, oh man, this game's on and that game's on. And it's like, people just get hooked on it. And then, that's how, Rhino hockey just continues to grow. And that's really how like our youth program grows too.
All right. So I have a few more questions. I don't know how much time you got, because we are running up against the El Paso curfew, of course, because we do live.
Gotta obey the rules.
We gotta obey the rules. Our county judge is keeping us indoors after 10 o'clock. You need to take a piss? Yeah. Oh shit, man. Anthony, let's take a break, because Tom Herman over here has got a small bladder. But yeah, let's take a break and then we'll come back. That pee break was brought to you by Bud Light. You know, Bud Light is the best tasting beer in America. And you know what, Anthony? Bud Light Lime. I know it's not summer, but gosh, it's so damn good.
It still hits the spot.
It does hit the spot. And you know what? I know you guys are saying like, "Hey, where's the Twisted Tea? Where's Twisted Pete?" Yeah, it's been a while. We haven't had the Twisted Tea, but I mean, Bud Light Lime, it still goes down good, especially when you're talking about hockey. Speaking of hockey, we still have Tom Herman. He's back from his bathroom break. Congratulations on that one. I wanted to ask you some questions about youth hockey because you are the El Paso Hockey Association Director of Youth Hockey here in the Borderland, right? I mean, you're the dude. So I wanted to talk to you about youth hockey, but youth sports in general. Like, because I played sports growing up, and there was a lot of opportunity for myself, but also my friends. And would you say there's still opportunity for people that come from lower income neighborhoods?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the reason I ask this is because I had, like, growing up, I had coaches that, you know, they would they would allow basically anyone who wanted to participate in that sport to come out and play. And if they didn't have money, because let's face it, like, you know, entry fees, they're very, very expensive. And now I just see it like the prices are going up. Is there opportunity for the youth out there to participate in youth sports as well as hockey?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And unfortunately, hockey is one of those sports that is expensive just because you can't play it anywhere. You know, you need ice. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, obviously comes with a little bit more of a price tag. And, you know, but that being said, you know, we try to do as much as possible to make it affordable for everybody. The NHL does a fantastic job, you know, helping with that. You know, we have a program called the Dallas Stars Learn to Play program. It's put on by the Dallas Stars and the NHL. And our contribution is basically donating the ice and the coaches. And through this program, a kid can pay $200. They get a full bag of brand new equipment. And you ask any hockey parent how much a full bag of hockey equipment costs, it's a lot more than $200.
Yeah.
You know, like I just had to buy my 9-year-old daughter a new pair of skates, and I played hockey all my life, and I'm cheap. You know what I mean? I'm cheap when it comes to equipment. Like, I'm not going to buy the top of the line stuff. I know it doesn't need to be top of the line. So I bought her mid-range skates, and for a 9-year-old, you know, they're still $125. You know, and that's just for a pair of skates, right? And then she wants a new hockey stick, and you know, you can buy a $250 hockey stick for a 9-year-old, and I'm like, this ain't happening. You know what I mean? So this Learn to Play program that's put on by the Stars and stuff like that, it's $200, and the kid gets everything.
That's cool.
Head to toe, they get everything. So they're ready to go on the ice: skates, stick, helmet, like every single piece of equipment, minus a jock and a mouth guard. Those are the only two things that a parent can purchase if they want it. We have our own version of that we've ran since I've been here for 10 years. It's called the Junior Rhinos program, and basically that is an 8-week program. It's $105. We supply all the equipment. So again, the difference between the Stars program and the Junior Rhinos is we'll supply it if you need it, but you're borrowing it, right? Mm-hmm. So what we try to do is when a new kid comes into the program, we try to get them into the Dallas Stars program so they get that bag of gear. And then from that, as they progress through our program, they'll go to the Junior Rhinos program. Then they'll go to our House League program. And then, you know, if they want to, they can participate in our travel programs. And we'll do anything and everything possible to make sure a kid has a place to play. You know, with everything in this world, you know, your financial status shouldn't put limits on
Yeah.
you. So like we'll do what we can if we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're not gonna say, oh, you can't. Oh, let me see your checkbook. Oh, sorry, can't come.
Yeah.
You know that's not right. It's
Because I asked that question, and like I tell you, I played football, basketball, baseball, and some other sports that I wasn't good at, but those were the three main sports, and I was a pretty good athlete. I'm not gonna lie, I was a pretty good athlete. But honestly, some of the best athletes came out of, the projects. They came out of Sandoval here on the west side, Sandoval. They came out of, low-income housing, but it's because they got the opportunity from the coaches, and the coaches, very similar to your guys' Rhino program, that you can borrow the equipment. You don't have to purchase it. Like, these coaches would take a chance on them and say like, hey, like you could borrow a helmet, the football pads and everything. And like you said, like, it's not right, and it's not fair to, neglect those that, that do have a passion for the sport, but they just financially, they just don't have the opportunity. And like, is there any stories that you can think of when someone came out of, a situation like that?
yeah, no, with not naming names, but like one of the, we had a local player here that, wasn't in the greatest financial situation, and, but at the same time they were willing to work, and they would pitch in around the rink when they could, and all throughout their hockey career at the rink, or like growing up, they were always around the rink, and we did what we could for them, and it was kind of like a give and take, and they ended up going on to playing ACHA hockey, outside of El Paso, and doing really well there, and they're still in hockey. Like they're coaching hockey now, and it's kind of again like that. What I love about what I do is like I'm giving back to the greatest sport that I think is, and for what hockey gave me. Like now I have that opportunity to give back.
Yeah.
And if there's ever an argument of like, oh, well, you don't have money, you're never going to be, you can't do it kind of thing. It's like, okay, so answer me this. If you grow up in a very wealthy family, does that make you successful in business? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean automatically you're going to be successful in business. You could run a business into the ground, or you could end up being poor because you don't know what you're doing. It's the same thing with youth sports or sports in general. Just because you come from a wealthy family doesn't make you a better player.
Yeah.
Do
you think youth sports has a problem in terms of traveling teams, and just some of the leagues now, and some of the teams and the coaches, they're pushing more tournament play rather than league play?
I think our situation's a lot more different because, one, we only have one sheet of ice in town, and the nearest sheet of ice to us is 4 hours away.
But you being a youth director, like, I understand the hockey thing.
Yeah.
But when you look at other sports and you see that El Paso has a lot of, the parks, the facilities to hold basketball leagues, baseball, football, all that stuff. Yet there's a lot of traveling teams, all-star teams. Do you think that's a problem? They look forward to the tournaments rather than the league itself, rather than testing testing their teams here in the city. Like, I guess, supporting the city leagues. They're choosing to go play in Odessa, Midland, Arizona, like Phoenix, Albuquerque, or whatever. Is that a problem? You could talk about the hockey and stuff, because like you said, you have there's only one sheet of ice. So, talk about that, but looking at other sports, do you think it's a problem?
So one thing I think that is wrong with youth sports, and it's kind of that double-edged sword because, you know, also as a coach, you want your players engaged all the time, but you know, single sport athletes, I think, is one major issue. You know, and that's where not so much for hockey, because we take a break because we don't have ice, so it's kind of like a built-in break. But you know, I kind of look at like volleyball, for example. Like, I just talked to some parents that have their kids that aren't playing hockey, but they might have a sibling that's, you know, playing, you know, club volleyball, and they're traveling here, there, everywhere, playing like X amount of games, and it's like, holy man, like that's a lot, you know, and it's year round, and you know, and then, you know, they actually kind of make hockey look cheap, you know, and it's like for the amount they're paying for their travel. Age and their travel and their coaches and things like that. I get the competitive aspect of it. Don't get me wrong. Like, if you want to be the best, you kind of have to play the best. But at the same time, you know, the issue is, and this sucks to say because I am a parent, but the problem is always the parent. I'll take Dallas hockey, for example, and when it was in kind of like the wild west stage of youth hockey in Dallas, where, you know, there was a lot of well-off parents at the time, and, you know, all of a sudden their kid wouldn't make the best team. It was like, you know what? We have enough kids. Let's start our own association. And so USA Hockey and Tahoe was like, okay, well, we have a new association in Dallas. Cool. So it's like, okay, well, we're AAA too, or we're AA too, or whatever it was at the time. And that's where, you know, kind of parents get involved. And it's like, it's okay for your kid not to be the best. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their own sport path, and you know, that's where it's kind of like, you let your kid play kind of thing. But what was happening in Dallas was like, every time a kid got cut, it was like, hey, I'm going to hire this coach, come play for me, and we'll play against them, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden they had all these associations, and they had all these associations saying they're AAA, like, quote unquote, the best, where they didn't. And now what they've done in Dallas now is they've dialed it back so much that there's only one AAA program in the state of Texas. There might be two now, so don't hold me to that, but there might be two now. But before, there was like 3 or 4, even 5 kind of thing. And it was like so diluted. And then they were recruiting players from all over the U.S. to come play. And it's like, whoa. Let's dial it back. Let's grow our players in state and promote Dallas and Texas hockey versus just trying to be the best. And so, you know, they kind of like had to rewind it, where it's like, okay, like, you know, if we want to have the best kids here, you know, let's move them there, and not just let, you know, like a renegade association just start up because some pissed off parent, you know, has the money to do it, and, you know, like can just start their own association.
Do you ever fear burning out your own children?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
like I mean, you're a big hockey dude. You obviously are very involved in the sport. You talked about, like, you don't buy top of the line stuff for your children, but like, you obviously have that education as well of what's good and what's needed. But do you fear of burning out your children with the sports that they play? Yeah,
I'm a super competitive guy. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, and I think, for the most part, for me, it's kind of why, if you're gonna do something like sport related, you know, why do you want to quit? You know what I mean? Like, why, you know, you don't change sports like you change laundry, kind of thing. Like, that's kind of my thing. You know, but my kids have done gymnastics, they've done ballet, they've done figure skating, they play hockey, they do all those things. They've done horse riding and everything like that. And my biggest thing is, like, if they come to me and say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, it's kind of like, why? Well, I just don't want to. Well, to me, that's not right. one, I'm looking at it financially. I'm like, hey, hold on, I just paid for the whole season. You're gonna kind of stick this out there, kid. But two, it's kind of like, no, you kind of committed to something. Let's ride it out. At the end of the season, if you feel differently, let's reevaluate, kind of thing. Like, kind of trying to teach them, like, hey, I don't let my kids play hockey all year long. Again, as much as, when you have your coaching hat on, you're like, hey, we got to keep the skills brushed up a little bit. But at the same time, I never did that as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as hockey season was over, like, the baseball glove was on, and, we played baseball all summer. And then all of a sudden it's like, throw the baseball glove back in the shed, and, you grab your hockey equipment, and away we go. And so, yeah, and that's where, like, those single sport athletes, it's kind of like, let them do something else. Like, does your kid actually like it that much? And that's where, again, like, I have 3 kids, and you've met my kids, but they all have 3 completely different, like, different personalities. Like, my oldest is super competitive at everything, and she wants to be the best, and if she loses, especially to her sisters, it's like the world's ending, like, let's play again. And she wants to always, like, continue to improve. My middle child is like, she could care less who's winning, who's, like, it's kind of like, what's the soundtrack? Can we dance to it? Let's go. And then I kind of have my third child where she's kind of stuck in the middle, and, but at the end of the day, it's like, what's the snack at the end? And again, and there's nothing wrong with that. And but at the same time, it's like, I think sports are so important for kids. Sports go so much farther in life than anything. And to me, that's where, like, again, kind of rewinding a little bit, that's where I think hockey's such a team sport, that I think it's just really good, teaching for kids.
All right, we're gonna have some fun questions, because we already got all those questions out of the way, but now it's time to hear the fun ones. All right. So, as a hockey player, do you want to be an enforcer, or do you want to be the team's leading scorer?
I was always kind of the wanting to be the team scorer guy.
Yeah.
Just because I'm kind of a small guy. But so I was fortunate to have a little bit of scoring touch, and definitely.
So no enforcer? You don't want to be the guy, like, just pounding dudes?
That's cool and all, don't get me wrong, like
you're in the, what is it, the third line or whatever, and
yeah,
it's
you're
like,
on the third.
Tom, get in there, man. That guy's been giving us hell all game. Like, show him who's boss. All right, coach. And then boom, you, like, knock him through the eyes. I mean, knock him through the glass and stuff.
Yeah, but at the same time, like,
I mean, you could set a statement, man.
Right, you could set a statement, or you could score 4 or 5 goals and win the game.
True.
Okay.
Like, who's going to be okay? So if you're up or down by a goal, right, or if it's overtime, who's going to be on the ice? The enforcer or the guy that you're expecting to score?
Yeah, no, he's got a point.
He's
got a point. That's why we ask the questions here. All right, so you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier in the interview, but when you see other athletes milking injuries that are, like, so stupid, soccer, for example, they just fall for getting sneezed on. But who knows? COVID.
Maybe they're ahead of the curve.
COVID nowadays, shit, man. But yeah, you see guys obviously, like, falling for no reason, or they go up for a layup, they get slapped on the wrist, and they're, like, crying. LeBron James, like you mentioned.
I never said that. Okay. I never said that.
But,
about
like,
LeBron.
when you see other athletes milking injuries, you as a tough guy hockey player, what do you think about that?
Hockey players have always been said to be, like, one of the tougher athletes because they'll play through injuries. To me, like, if I watch a football game and I'm watching these guys get hit and I'm just like, ouch, you know what I mean? And then you ask a football player to watch a hockey game and they're kind of saying the same thing. So obviously, because it's a different craft, like, you just, look at it in different ways. I do find some injuries pretty comical, when it, like, a baseball player's out with a hangnail. Well, but at the end of the day, you can't pitch, properly, because then you're going to probably not have a contract anymore, and so like there's different injuries and different, like, the basketball, for example, well, it's also the officiating's fault, like why it is the way it is. Like soccer, like if you were to put the whistle away and just let the guys go after it, it's going to be completely different. And, for hockey, for example, it's the only sport where you're allowed to fight. And you know why that is? It's self-policing. If you had a guy rolling around like Neymar that one year in the World Cup or whatever it was, if you had a guy rolling around like that in hockey, somebody's going to pick him up, like the enforcer or anybody on the ice is going to pick him up, maybe one of his own teammates, and he's just going to dummy him and be like, you're an embarrassment. You know what I mean?
But he's the goal scorer, man.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, no,
he's the one that put you up by 5.
Yeah. Yes, true. But the officiating allows that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, so, if there's an opportunity to put your team ahead, the soccer player is going to go down, or the basketball player is going to whip their head back or their arm back just to try to get the call to put their team at an advantage. So it's really not the athlete's fault. It's kind of the sport's fault. But at the end of the day, like, I think that's where, players in hockey officiate themselves a little bit more, because you can fight. Like, you're not going to take the liberty of a cheap shot on a player because you have that guy on the bench just waiting for the coach to tap him on the shoulder saying, hey, you can have your shift now. And it's not like I'm sending you out there to fight or anything. I mean, but if you were to happen to protect your own player,
right?
In a way, baseball has that too, though, because if a guy goes up and tries to show up a player from the opposite team, then you have the pitcher throwing at the next batter or something, like if I hit a home run and then I like kind of
flip.
And I bat flip and I look at it, the next time I come up to bat, I'm going to get one right between, the shoulder blades,
Yeah.
So they kind of police their own sport as well. There's like those unwritten rules. That's kind of like hockey is, sort of.
Yeah, kind of, except for, you're going to get suspended as a baseball player, where as a hockey player, you sit for 5 minutes and then you get out, and away you go kind of.
How upsetting is that for a coach when got stupid ass Anthony over there? We're down 2 goals and it's the 3rd period, and then Anthony beats the shit out of the other guy, and you're like, hell yeah, man. But then we're down a player for 5 minutes. Like, how annoying is that as a coach?
Yeah, but again,
God damn it, Anthony, this is the 4th time this week.
No, there's it's called like picking your spot. You know what I mean? So there's times in the game where I'm trying to use the NHL as an example because, like that's where fighting's most allowed. A fighter's not just going to go out there and just fight, and especially in this day and age of the game where, if you're there's no real enforcer anymore. It's like you're a tough guy that can play. So you're playing valuable minutes. You're not just sitting on the bench waiting to get your shoulder tapped and go fight. Yeah. Even back in the day, there was the code for fighters and stuff like that. It's like, if you take a cheap shot on our best player, you better answer the bell. And now it's kind of like, okay, same sort of deal, but I'm going to pick my spot. If your team's down a goal, you might go looking for a fight to flip the momentum.
Does that ever carry over to the next game in a series, or like, because if you're down a goal, it's the 3rd period, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna like do it now, but then the next game, I'm gonna have my eye on Tom over there.
Yeah, no, and that's where, like, for playoffs for the NHL, I think it's the best because it's a 7-game series, and you just watch the blood boil. You know what I mean? Like you just continue to watch it, and it was just heightened this year in the bubble, and because nobody knew what to expect, and they're playing these play-in games and these exhibition type games, and all of a sudden the very first game, there's like the first shift, there's a huge, massive hit, and everyone's like, whoa, like we're playing hockey. And then all of a sudden, like that game, there's a fight or 2 fights, and it's like, man, these guys, like, they've been just waiting to play. And hockey's so unique. Like that's the biggest thing where, you know, anyone will fight, you know, for the most part, whether guys have fought before or not, but they'll stick up for their teammates, and they'll just do what they have to do.
Are hockey players the toughest athletes out there over MMA, boxing, or even golfers?
Golfers.
I had to add golfers because
throw Pat in there.
Pat's a golfer. Pat's going to be a PGA pro.
Nice.
Yeah,
he's
real.
not there, Abel.
Yeah, well, I point
over there.
That's his desk over there. That's it. That's where he works out of.
You got the Tiger Woods over there.
He's got the Tiger Woods.
I think some hockey players are definitely up there pound for pound. Just
toughest sport. Okay.
And I think it's one of the tougher sports to play just because of the physical aspect of it, and the amount of, you know, toll it takes on your body to play it. But again, you know, you look at Conor McGregor, just like you watch those guys just getting their heads beat in the whole time, and you're just like, I understand your payday, and I understand you might only fight once every 6 months, year kind of thing. So whatever, but like, you know, you watch it and you're just like, whew.
Yeah. All right. So how much do girls like hockey? Because like I never knew how much girls would like hockey until I took my girlfriend to a hockey game, and she was like, this is the greatest sport ever. And I've taken her to baseball, you know, like I've taken her to, and like I've taken her to like MLB games, NBA games, you know, like, and then it turns out she likes Rhino hockey games, and I'm like, shit, I could get free tickets for Rhino.
No, again, I think it's the constant action. You know what I mean? Like it's, you know,
Super Mario said the same thing, right?
Yeah, he did.
No, but like, okay, think about football. It's like what, 5-10 seconds if. You know, every play, it's like, boom, like reset, away we go. Basketball is a little bit more, you know,
back and forth.
A little bit more back and forth, a lot more whistles, a lot more time. But, you know, you can kind of compare, like soccer is probably the most comparable sport as far as rules go. But obviously, like, it's a lot bigger, and there's, you know, it's just slow. Baseball, man, you know, that's tough. Like, don't get me wrong, I love watching the World Series and the playoffs and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like one pitch, you know, two pitch.
I can't stand it.
You know, get your bat off the shoulders. Come on, like swing the bat. You know, like
I love baseball. That's my favorite sport.
Yeah, but like if you made it like slow pitch, like one pitch tournaments. One pitch tournaments are the best. You lay the mat down on the home plate. If it hits it, it's a strike. If you don't hit it, like if it hits it, you're out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like one pitch, done. But no, hockey's, I think, just so engaging because again, you have a bench of 20 players. You're on the ice for 30, 45 seconds, and you're just going balls to the wall. So it's like from a fan standpoint, and you're sitting there and you're just watching these guys get hit into the boards and the sounds of everything. It's just, and then throwing a puck that's moving 90 miles an hour to 100 miles an hour. It's kind of crazy to think. All
right, here in the Meadows Open, we're huge on movies. We love movies, and one of our favorite movies is The Mighty Ducks. We love The Mighty Ducks. I was raised on Gordon Bombay and The Mighty Ducks. Like, so my question is, 1, who is your favorite character from The Mighty Ducks series? And 2, which is your favorite movie?
Which is my favorite Mighty Duck movie, or which is my favorite? Okay,
it's a real question, man.
No,
real question.
I think I would go with the original Mighty Ducks.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the original Mighty, because the second one, that's when they unveiled the new.
They go to the Pan American Games or whatever.
Oh, so they're Team USA in the second
they're
one?
Team USA on the second one.
Which one's the third one?
The third one is when they're in high school. They go to a private school.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of
Yeah,
that
I
one.
wasn't.
Yeah, that was kind of
That was the weakest one.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So okay, so it's between 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think
Team USA or just the typical Mighty Duck team.
so the problem with any like sequel or trilogy or whatever, especially when it comes to like something like this, you know what the ending is pretty much before it starts. Okay. So they're gonna win, right? Like, and one it's a Disney movie, and two it's a team sport.
I don't know,
movie.
man. Iceland had a really good team that year.
Yeah, no, I think I'd go with the first one just because
Okay.
Coach Bombay gets fired and then he comes back and he does the whole quack quack quack, Mr. Duckworth, and
Okay.
I think I would go with the first one, and probably my favorite character, and this would go throughout the trilogy is and I can't even remember his name, but the old man,
Hans?
Yeah, Hans.
What the hell?
Yeah, no, he's just the calming voice. He's kind of like the Yoda, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's sitting in his pro shop and Bombay comes in and he looks for advice. He's kind of like yeah.
So Bombay's like Obi-Wan, and then
yeah.
Hans is Yoda
Yeah, I think.
or Qui-Gon.
Yeah, I think.
We're huge Star Wars fans here too. Sorry.
No, but I think I would go with.
Hans.
Yeah.
Wow. Not Goldberg or Charlie Conway, man. Charlie Conway, he was a leader. He was a team leader. He even decided to sit out in the championship game because he knew that he could be more valuable on the bench and other players playing instead of him.
That was season 2 though, or that was D2, not D1.
Dude, well, that's where I was gonna tell you. D2 is the better movie. D1, you were wrong on that. D2 is easily the better Mighty Ducks movie.
No,
it's
Team
scripted. USA.
It's not even realistic though.
No.
How can you be in a Pan American Games or whatever it's called, and then just
the Goodwill Games?
The Goodwill Games, and hey, we're just gonna peace out for a little bit, and we're gonna go play a street hockey game, and then not only that, we're gonna just dress a kid. Where's his credentials?
It's knuckle puck time.
There's no how do you get him on the roster?
Kenan Thompson.
There's no way.
Kenan Thompson. I mean, look at his resume. He was on all that. He was on Ken and Kale or whatever it was called. Kenan and Kale.
But it's just unrealistic.
He's on SNL now.
It's just so much more unrealistic.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess, man. I mean,
when you're a kid watching them, you don't really think about that. But looking back, you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Dude,
but when he is sitting over the bench and he's laughing at all the players and stuff like that,
hey Goldberg, I bet if it was a hamburger, you would have stopped there or something like that. Man, that was a great movie.
Good movie.
So okay, so as far as hockey movies go, have you seen Slapshot?
I haven't seen Slapshot, but I've heard of.
Okay, so again, don't watch the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever.
It's like the Caddyshack of hockey, right?
Yeah, but it's Paul Newman's in it. That says enough for itself.
Didn't that guy die 20 years ago?
20 years? No.
Maybe in the last year or so.
Yeah, not that long.
Really?
Yeah. He's got his own salad dressing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
But yeah, right away, it shows up, hockey movie. But no, that is the classic movie. But I think a better movie.
Don't say Miracle.
No.
Okay.
No,
was
but
bad.
There's another one that you could watch. It's called Youngblood, another old school movie. But yeah, and it's old school kind of hockey mentality. It talks about kind of the semi-pro leagues and the junior leagues. Patrick Swayze's in it.
That's why it sounds familiar.
Yeah, no, it's
okay. Rob Lowe.
Yeah, Rob Lowe's in it.
Rob Lowe.
It's Tea with Miss McGill. I don't even think it'll show up. It'll get screened on you. But no, it's Cynthia. She's No, it's a good show. Keanu Reeves is in it. He plays a French goalie.
Shit, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, no, it's a really really good show, and
I'm gonna
It's
have
on
to watch
Netflix.
that. It's on Netflix.
It says right there. That's what
yeah,
watching with on Netflix.
Dude, I'm gonna watch it.
yeah, it's pretty good. Those were probably like between Slapshot and Youngblood. I think those were probably the two kind of go-to movies. And then obviously, if you look at the release date, Slapshot was 77, Youngblood 86. So, not the Mighty Ducks in the 90s.
All right, so double question here. Us as a podcast, we're barely getting into the sport of hockey. We obviously love the Rhinos, but if we were going to start watching NHL hockey, who's the middle is open going to root for? Pitch it to us. Give us a team that we need to hang their banner up here, like put a poster up, and that's going to be our team. We're going to ride or die with them. That's our team right there. And also, who's the best player of all time? Is it Gretzky, Crosby, or Ovechkin, Gordie Howe? Who is it? It's Gretzky?
No, Gretzky.
Okay. Let's get that one out of the way.
Yeah, no.
Stupid question.
No,
Freaking Pat, when you rate the question.
no, I
Fucking
I
idiot.
think you, first off, how do you not say Gretzky?
You know why I say Gretzky? Because, I don't even play hockey, and I remember his shoes coming out. Do you remember that?
He had shoes?
Swear to God. Look it up. Wayne Gretzky, sport shoes, tennis
I
shoes.
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
Dude,
surprised.
he had shoes. And
No,
they
he had
and
he
they
had
had
everything.
his number 99. And I remember, because my brother's your age, and I was like, dude, I want those shoes. And he's like, you don't even play fucking hockey. And I was like, those are cool shoes. See, 99.
Oh yeah.
He had sports shoes, man.
Dang, signed too.
No, he's and
No,
he's
there
those
might
are-
be some other ones,
I
Anthony.
was gonna say those. Look like,
Yeah, those look like kind of like hockey shoes or something. But he had sports shoes. I swear to God.
no
Because
he-
back in the day, remember the LA Kings were
Yeah.
cool. They
no,
were,
that's
they were really
he brought hockey to the West Coast. The LA Kings, were around obviously before him, but the jersey, that white and silver jersey that you see there, they switched over to that jersey when he came down. And if you ask a Canadian that was in that time, they can tell you the day that he got traded, they can tell you where they were.
Yeah. it's
Legit, they can tell you where they were. And when he got married, it was pretty much like the royal wedding.
wow.
It was insane. And his,
Legend.
yeah, no, he,
I was on the shitter and my wife yelled at me, "Hey, Tom, did you hear about Gretzky? He got traded."
no, it was people remember that day, and it's just it was a painful day in Canada. He was leaving the Oilers, and it was just holy man, you know what I mean? But his records are just insane.
Yeah.
What he could do. And if, you can make the argument about equipment, you can make the argument of how the game was played, but there's a counter argument all the time, Okay. So as a team to root for,
Yeah. I mean, because we got a lot of shit in this bar.
yeah,
But we need to hang more stuff up. And, of course, we need hockey stuff up here.
We need a
So-
Rhinos one for sure.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need
no,
Rhinos.
we'll get that taken care of for sure.
Mail it. You know our address, right? You can mail it over.
If you're gonna go local, that the Stars aren't a bad club to go with.
Stars.
They obviously made the Stanley Cup Finals this year. They're on the up and up. They're actually a fun team to watch too.
Yeah.
So
Does Mike Madonna still play for them?
no,
Ah,
he's
damn
been
it.
long gone for a few years.
Because, Peter and I, my brother, we used to play this game, NHL Face Off or
Yeah.
something like that. Because we got the demo at Pizza Hut. We didn't have the actual game, but we had the demo, and we played the shit out of it, man. We played it. You could only play one period, and it was a 5-minute period. But we played the shit out of it. And it was always the Dallas Stars versus the Detroit Red Wings. Fucking Stars, man. Mike Madonna, dude. Legend.
Yeah. No, he's
Brett Hall and stuff.
yeah.
Don't ask me any other players. or what was it? Was it Lemieux? No, not Lemieux.
There's Mario Lemieux.
It was Letterman or some shit like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Because that's how. Yeah, Letman. Because that's how. What's his name? Would announce it. What's his name? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Gary Thorne,
No, not Gary Thorne.
Doc Emmerich.
He just retired. Doc Emmerich.
Yeah.
Because he was like the commentator on the game. He was like, Letman, and I was like, yeah. It was cool. Anyways,
Yuri Letnin.
yeah.
No, so like if you're gonna go Texas, like Dallas, well, you only have one choice, but Dallas wouldn't be a bad option.
What about the Coyotes? Because I mean, Phoenix is right there, man.
No, Phoenix is a lot closer. They have some good pieces.
Jeremy Roenick.
They have.
Does he still play with them?
He still lives in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you that. He did play for him, and he still lives in that area. But no, they have some good pieces. They did some good things this year. So like again, they're definitely on the up and up.
Because we need hockey in here, man.
Yeah.
We need hockey.
Yeah. No, and it's
And we really like, because Anthony and I, every Sunday we watch football. He'll have because he's a Cowboy fan and I'm a 49er fan, Sunday ticket. He's got the Cowboys playing. I have my 49ers playing, and we're both like throwing our hats on the floor like, God damn it. But you know what? There's a part of me that wants to root with Anthony, like all of us together.
No,
so
and
we can always be like,
it's definitely better when you have a team to root for. Like again, I'm from Canada, and so when
who's your team?
I was gonna ask that.
So I'm a Canucks fan. And I could easily make my pitch for them because they're definitely on the rise. They have a lot of young talent. We'll see how long that lasts.
All right.
You could root for the Oilers, like Gretzky's old team, because they got Connor McDavid, they got Leon Draisaitl, a lot of fun to watch. But at the same time, like the easiest pick would probably be the Stars because if you have Fox Sports Dallas, you get to watch them for free and you don't have to search for games.
Good point.
Yeah, there you go.
Extra star there.
Yeah, exactly, right? No, but there's a lot of teams like Toronto Maple Leafs are an easy pick too because they got a pretty stacked team if they could ever figure it out. Colorado Avalanche has a really good team. That's not too far of a drive.
But see, I don't want to be that fan. It's like, oh, how long have you been a so-and-so fan?
Yeah,
Just
but you're gonna
because
be
they're
that.
winning?
You're gonna be that fan anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like you're starting somewhere. Like the reason I became a Cardinals fan was because my wife's a Lions fan. Her whole entire family is Cowboys fans. My brother's a Packers fan. And I told my oldest daughter, is like, here's a list of teams to pick from. Pick a team.
Oh, so you and her.
So I was like, we'll cheer for this team. And so she picked the Cardinals, which was awesome because it's like if we did want to go to a game, we can, and they've kind of been good, but like it gives you something to cheer for too, right? You can ride or die with them kind of thing. You can be pissed off when they lose, you can pissed off when they make a bad call or whatever. But then at the same time, you're like excited when they draft a player or they win a game or whatever, it's just, you get invested.
Peter is asking another question, and he wants to know, have you ever seen somebody get hit so hard they shit themselves?
Shit themselves? No.
No?
No, not that I know.
Stupid Peter. God damn it.
That is on Slapshot though.
Oh, okay.
No,
maybe that's why he got it
not shit themselves, but
piss themselves?
Yeah, because the
Okay.
guy's just hammered on the ice, and he's like, he basically tells the guy, "Don't hit me again. I'll
How do you
piss
clean
myself."
that off the ice?
I don't know.
Well,
It just freezes, right?
no, but you're like fully clothed, so it's like
okay.
just soaking all your stuff.
got you.
Yeah, Anthony. You're not wearing gym shorts.
I'm just picturing it trickling down the ice and then just freezing there. You're like, fuck, don't skate there.
Yeah. They put like the little yellow thing.
Yeah, put a cone.
Wet floor. All right. Pat's stupid question, because the guys that aren't here ask stupid ass questions. Pat's stupid question is, when are you going to lead UT to a conference championship?
See, if I could have Coach Tom Herman's paycheck, I don't know if I'd be sitting here with you guys right now to answer that question. I I don't know enough about UT football.
Let me remind you, because Pat's so stupid. I go, yo, guys, like, we have this group chat, and I'm like, yo, guys, I got Tom Herman on the show. He's like, shut the fuck up. Tom Herman, the coach of UT, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, what? He's like, Tom Herman, man. I was like, yeah, I got Tom Herman on the show. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Pat's a UT football fan.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. Yeah.
But
Even though we've
no,
been
no
planning,
offense.
even
No
though we've been
offense.
planning
We-
this,
we-
he doesn't
I mean,
listen. He's like,
we're
"What?
we're
Tom
happy
Herman?"
you came in, but apparently Pat wasn't happy he didn't even come in. He had
Made
to
some
ha-
excuse.
he had to have his daughter born today. I'm like, sheesh.
yeah.
Anyways, you guys have a announcer that does your guys' games. He's one of like El Paso's greatest announcers. He does locomotive soccer. How great is Duke Keith?
He's a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had the pleasure to do color with him.
How much do you like doing color?
I've
And
had
is that something you could potentially do later on down the road?
yeah. So I've had to fill in for Duke and be the main guy
Oh, damn.
and call games and stuff. I can't do what he does. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I like to know all the players, to know how to pronounce their names and all stuff like that. Like I can call the game and say like the puck's moving here, there, wherever, and like this is a good play because X, Y, and Z. I can do that part. The color stuff I enjoy because you don't like I know hockey, so my job's done. You know what I mean? So like I can just like explain why that was a good play. I can explain this and I can tell a funny story or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, remember that guy shit himself after he got hit by...
You know, or you got to correct the guy that's calling the play and be like, I actually know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just so much. You're in the passenger seat. Like you got to, you know, basically just hang out. and
Yeah,
have a
along
good
for the ride.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
along for the ride. And
It's kind of what Anthony does.
Yeah,
right?
you kind of pack a roadie and just
I just said everything and then
yeah.
take a
Anthony's-
nap over here.
Anthony drinks like 10 beers in a show.
No, so
while I'm asking questions over here.
no, so but no, it's a lot of fun to work with him and you know, he works hard, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember when he was doing like high school football and he was doing like basically anything you heard on 600 he was on. Then he's on the morning show and then he's running around here, there, everywhere. And you know, credit to him, he does a lot.
It's that voice, man. That
Yeah,
voice. He just has that voice. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Duke's the
voice.
shit, man.
Yeah.
Duke's the shit.
I need to get him on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Fucking...
If you get him on the show, I'm coming.
Yeah?
coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. All right,
Hell yeah.
dude.
In the books.
Peter, okay, so I used to work at the radio station, but my brother worked there a lot longer than I did, and he was actually like on air and stuff. I was just like the bitch. I did
You
all
make
the,
sure the building didn't catch fire
yeah,
at night.
I did all the shit work. I worked like the shift from 12 to 6 in the morning on the weekends. It was the shit shift. Nobody even knew who the hell I was. Peter, on the other hand, he made friends with everyone there. So yeah, we'll try to get Duke on the show, and then we'll say, hey, Tom Herman's coming on the show. Oh, the guy from UT. Yeah. So we're gonna have to make that happen, because like, dude, I have like a shit ton of questions here. We're already past curfew.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, you're gonna get in trouble. I'm sorry for that,
I'm
man.
gonna write you a pass.
But last question before we let you go: how fun is that Zamboni?
You know,
It's like,
we used to do Zamboni rides like for fans and stuff like that, or if it was like somebody's birthday.
Until some kid fell off.
No, it wasn't even that, but
We
like
ran over poor little Jimmy.
but like after the first 2 laps, it's boring.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like, think about it. You already waved to everybody, and then now you have like 6, 7 more laps to do. And
I hate my life.
you know, and then like if I'm driving the Zamboni or whoever's driving the Zamboni, then there's that uncomfortable silence where you're like, okay, so now we got to talk about something, you know, and so you might be talking to like a 7-year-old kid, or you're talking to like somebody in their 40s or 50s or whatever, and it's just kind of like,
So
what's up? You know, so
It's like, are you having a good time? I wipe my own ass.
so it's like it's like driving a riding lawnmower, but you're on ice, and so the novelty wears off.
Yeah, because I always wanted to be. I want to drive the Zamboni. That would be cool. But I always wanted to be the guy that they do like a doom buggy.
The Razor.
Yeah, he's like, and then the guy's all doing donuts in the middle of the ice. I'm like, dude, that's pretty badass. But anyways, like I said, we're past curfew. We're going to get you out of here. We do not want you to get in trouble. We're so happy that you were able to join us.
Yes.
Unfortunately, like we said, Pat and Peter were unable to be on the show tonight because Pat had to have a baby for some reason, and then Peter forgets his fiance's birthday. So, Tom, we really enjoyed this show. Honestly, it was fun. I had a good time. I had, like I told you, look at all this. I have 70 more questions for you. We're definitely going to have to get you back on the show.
Yes.
For sure.
And we're going to have to get Duke on the show with you, and maybe you guys can tell us some tales.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'd definitely come back.
And maybe you could even bring a player.
Yeah, we'll figure some out.
That would
Yeah,
be
but
badass.
then the stories aren't as good.
Okay, don't bring the player, bring Duke. And I think, we're going to have to get you on the show. And then hopefully this pandemic could end soon, man. And we're going to have to go and check out a game.
Yeah, we'll definitely do something for you guys. 100%.
Hell yeah.
100%.
All right, man.
All right.
So I guess we're done here.
Yeah.
Anthony, any last words before we wrap up?
Nah, man. Just congrats to Pat, man. I'm just real happy for him.
Yeah.
It's life-changing, man. So.
Yep.
Yeah, good job, Pat.
Definitely.
You are not shooting blanks. Congratulations to you. Danny Cruz, shout out to you. You're a grandpa. And Peter, you're in the doghouse, you idiot. So no congrats for you. But thank you so much once again, Tom Herman, for joining us. This is The Middle's Open.
Trying to do a motherfucking podcast in here, shit.